Good evening. Welcome to the Design Review Board meeting of August 13th, 2026. The DRB meeting is now called to order. It is now 5:06 p.m. Please refrain from talking amongst yourself during the meeting, and please silence your mobile phones at this time. The DRB meeting is being broadcast live on Glendale TV, viewable on Spectrum Cable, Channel 6, and AT&T Uverse, Channel 99. Meetings are also streamed live on high definition of the city's webpage, www.glendaleca.gov/live, on youtube.com/myglendale, and on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, iOS, and Android devices using a free app called Cablecast and choosing Glendale TV from the menu. Meetings are also archived on the city's website for viewing anytime at glendaleca.gov/agendas. Meetings are also archived on the city's website for viewing anytime on glendaleca.gov/, once again, agendas. For public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person. Current DRB agenda and staff reports are available for visiting our website at www.glendaleca.gov. Record of decisions for all projects will be posted online on the Planning Division's website. Please note that any appeal of the case heard today must be filed within 15 calendar days of the DRB's decision date. Meetings are also archived. The appeal application is available online on glendalepermits.com. Roll call. Board Member Lockruff?
Present.
Board Member Simonian?
Present.
Board Member Welsh?
Present.
And Mr. Chair Halajian?
Present.
And with Board Member Koskanian being absent today. For reports regarding the agenda for the August 13th, 2026 regular meeting of the Glendale Design Review Board meeting was posted on the city's website and on the bulletin board outside City Hall on August 6th. I do see that we have approval of minutes from the previous meeting on January 23rd of 2026. If we have no comments, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. And roll call. Board Member Lockruff?
Yes.
Board Member Simonian?
Yes.
Board Member Welsh?
Yes.
And Mr. Chair Halajian?
Yes.
Okay. Oral communication. Discussion is limited to the items not part of this agenda. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. Design Review Board may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or discussion or decision. Do we have any cards for oral communication?
We do not.
No, seeing that we have none, does the board and commission members have any comments this evening? And I see none. Moving forward, we have no old business. We're going to move on to new business. I see there's 2 items. The first one being item 7A, 2817 Montrose Avenue, case number PDR 006931-2006. And this is a proposal to demolish a church built in 1957 with an addition in 1960 and to construct a 4-story, 42-unit multifamily residential building with 69 parking spaces. The project will include 5 units affordable to very low households. The site is approximately 3,600 square feet and is zoned R1650. I will turn this over to our case planner, Roger Kiesel, who will give a brief presentation.
All right, good evening, Design Review Board members. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Then the first item this evening is case number PDR 006931-2026. It's a review of a proposal to demolish a church and associated parking lot and construct a multifamily building. The project is located on the north side of Montrose Avenue, just west of its intersection with La Crescenta Avenue. Here's an aerial view of the shot. The site is outlined in red. And the next couple shots are of street view. This is looking from the street northwest, northeast, and then kind of straight on shot. So as I mentioned to you, the existing church and parking lot will be demolished to construct a 4-story, 42-unit multifamily development. 5 of the units will be affordable to very low-income households. There are 69 parking spaces. The site is approximately, or is just over 36,000 square feet, and the project is exempt from CEQA as a Class 32 infill exemption. The project is a density bonus project. On July 24th, 2026, the Community Development Director approved the density bonus component of the project. Pursuant to state density bonus law, the project was entitled to 4 concessions. These concessions included an increase in height and number of stories, an increase in the floor area ratio, an increase in lot coverage, and then finally to allow some at and above grade parking. Density bonus projects have different parking standards from standard multifamily developments. The project required 61 parking spaces, and 69 are provided. So here is a kind of an overview site plan of the project. The site planning is generally acceptable. The surrounding area contains mostly multifamily developments, and the project is consistent with this. The project provides large setbacks along the street front and interior property lines. Access to the parking garage is located generally in the same footprint as the existing driveway. Common open space for the tenants is easily accessible and located on the in the central courtyard and sort of the second level, which is in this area, as well as on the rooftop decks of the 3rd and 4th floor. This is the 3rd floor, and I've circled, well, I haven't circled the common open space, but the common open space is here and here. And then on the 4th floor is here. Staff is suggesting that a condition of approval be implemented, that landscape plans be amended to provide a more substantial buffer between the private and public open spaces. So in the red circles or ovals here are the private open space for a couple of the units, and they're right adjacent to the common open space. So staff is suggesting a more substantial buffer between the two, whether they be more substantial plants or bigger planters or something else, just so that there's some better separation between the two. And then on the 4th floor, the same thing occurs. And that's highlighted also in the red oval. So one other condition that's suggested has to do with the landscape plans. The horsetail that's proposed in, I believe, some of the planters should be eliminated as it's not drought tolerant. And the lantana should be eliminated under the oak tree, as it will require more landscaping than the oak tree will tolerate. And I've circled where the oak tree is and where the lantana is. You may have noted there is an existing large oak tree in the front of the site that is being maintained. But we want to make sure that not too much water gets to it. So that is a suggested condition. So the project is generally appropriate with regard to mass and scale. The neighborhood surrounding the project is largely composed of 2- and 3-story multifamily residences with minimal or no upper story step backs. As I noted earlier, there were 2 concessions that have to deal most strongly with mass, And those are the increase in building height, number of stories, as well as the floor area ratio. This is the front elevation. The side elevations are articulated through recessed volumes and projecting balconies. This is the west elevation, the east elevation, the two sides, and then the rear. Part of evaluating mass and scale is looking at the main entrance to the building. The main entrance to the project faces the street and is appropriately highlighted without being monumental. And then finally, the design and detailing of the project is generally appropriate with, again, some suggested conditions. The project is contemporary in style. This is the material board. You can see the variety of material and generally supports the contemporary nature of the building. This is the front of elevation again, and circled is the main entrance. So it's distinguished by siding, different from the remainder, for most of the remainder of the project, and also is not ostentatious. So staff is suggesting a condition to require all the windows to be recessed into the facades of the building, just to create some shadow lines and assist in the reduction of the overall appearance of mass. So what we're suggesting is also to change this window section. The detail shows sort of flat front windows as opposed to recessed. So that is a suggested condition of approval. And then another suggested condition of approval is this is sort of a blow up of the front part of the site. And you see two paving materials here. The top one is proposed for the driveway. The bottom one is proposed for the other two entrances. Staff is suggesting that an alternative material be proposed for the cobblestone, since it's more of a traditional type of material as opposed to something more contemporary. And then finally, a shot of the lighting that's proposed within the planters, as well as on the building. So that concludes my presentation. Staff is recommending approval of the project with 3 conditions. They're contained in the staff report, and they include landscape plan shall be amended to eliminate the horsetail and replace it with a drought-tolerant plant, eliminate the lantana from under the oak tree, and then finally to provide a more substantial buffer between the private open spaces, private balconies, private decks of the units and the common open space that is accessible to all of the units. The second suggested condition is windows shall be recessed within the facades of the project. A revised window installation section shall be provided on the plan submitted to Plan Check. And then the final condition, cobblestone stamped concrete shall be replaced with a material more complementary to the contemporary designed project.
Thank you, Mr. Kiesel. Any questions to the staff? Please go ahead. Board Member Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You mentioned 2 concessions. Were there any other concessions or waivers issued for the project?
There were 4.
Could you elaborate on those, please?
Sure. Let's go back. Oops. Okay, so the four concessions were an increase in the height and number of stories. So this zone would normally allow, this zone in this site would normally allow 3 stories and 36 feet. The project will be 4 stories with an overall height of 58 feet. But a caveat to that 58 feet is that's measured to the top of the stair elevator tower. The vast majority of the roof, I believe, is at 51 feet. The second concession was an increase in the maximum allowable floor area ratio. So in this zone, the maximum floor area ratio would be 1.0. The project has gotten approval of a 1.85 FAR. The third concession was an increase in the maximum allowable lot coverage. Lot coverage is normally 50%. This project got approval for 58.5%. And then finally, there are restrictions on the placement of parking spaces. And in a building with this many units, all parking is required in subterranean or semi-subterranean levels. This project got approval to provide some of the parking at and above grade, and that's largely due to the slope of the lot. We discourage visible parking, which is why we mandate subterranean, semi-subterranean parking. But in this case, looking at the front elevation, I mean, the parking isn't a big eyesore. And that's because of the slope and how we determine grade in semi-subterranean and subterranean. So those are the 4 concessions. And then I did mention when a project is a density bonus project, they're just different parking requirements from a standard multifamily project. This project complies with those density bonus standards and, in fact, provides, I believe, 8 more parking spaces than would otherwise be required. So,
Thank you.
Additional questions?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Mr. Kiesel, can you walk us through the adjacent uses and also the adjacent buildings? More specifically, you know, this existing grade that is there with the church, as to what they're proposing grading-wise after the parking structure is put in, and kind of how that 4-story relates to the surrounding context.
let's see. So most of the grading is required as a result of digging in for the parking. Let's see. This isn't a great, this looks like the site is flat and it's not. Let me see if there's another.
This section, maybe?
Let me,
Maybe the building sections?
yeah, let me
The east elevation.
get out of this. This just has certain select plans. Let me go to the full plan set.
A3s?
A3?
A31, A33.
Okay. Give me a second. see. Oh, yeah, I mean, this shows the slope of the lot. What I was looking for is maybe,
Well, let me rephrase the question. So
Okay.
from what I could tell and what I've observed, they're kind of digging into the existing site, right?
Correct.
So the parking structure is exposed along the street, but it kind of gets buried in as you go backwards, northbound.
the garage gate is exposed, yeah.
Correct. Well, at least from this massive scale depiction on that. And then the three levels, level second, third, and fourth, are at, let's say, the podium level at the rear, on the north side. And then that north setback, so the interior setback along the northern boundary of the property, kind of how does that elevation height compare to the
What
building?
elevation?
No, to the building, the property to its north. So in other words, it's kind of easier to tell what's happening on the left or right, but what is happening as, is the property to its north, looking at the second level, third level, fourth level, is there grade on the northern portion of the property?
Oh, I see.
To the north?
They are looking at the third floor.
I guess, could you put up an aerial, Google Earth aerial?
Sure.
That might explain a thing or two. That's right. So, is that like a shared driveway to its north? Or is that a street to its north, or what is that? Is it an alley?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then do you know what the grade difference is? It looks like, what, about 8 feet or so?
Between the two, I don't know what the grade difference
And-
is.
And so there's an alley, and then those homes are located off of the alley, those two homes north of the site.
I would just ask if
Mr. Kiesel, that I think explains it. I wanted to get that visual up so we get a sense as the context, but if you could just leave that up, and then perhaps there could be other questions, and I'll just kind of do my own research on. Thank you.
I have questions as well, or,
Just
one
a
comment.
brief reminder to the crowd, when speaking, you'll be called up because of the dialogue for the TV, and we would like to get all testimonies in there, not necessarily would your voice be picked up? So just a brief reminder, keep your comments to yourself at the time being. We will hear you and call you up. No, I know. Just a brief reminder. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Board Member Lockroft, questions?
yeah, just to follow up on Board Member Simonian's question. So at the rear of the property, adjacent to those houses, it's only 3 stories at the back there, correct? Because of the
Correct.
way the slope works. Just clarifying. And then I also want to understand, at the front, I know there's quite a bit of a setback to the upper stories and to the fourth floor at the front. Do you know what that setback is? I know the stair tower is the exception, but to the predominant mass of the building, do you know what that setback is?
I can get that information.
Okay, thank you.
It's stepped back pretty significantly because they have not only the required setback,
Right.
but they also have, it's an additional setback because of the width of the lot and the density of the project requires additional open space. So it looks like, I mean, the closest edge of the building is about 23 feet. I can't,
And
yeah, it
that,
looks like
that's
it's about 23 feet.
23
That's-
feet to the.
That's the closest edge, and that's the western portion of the site. But then the eastern portion of the site, I would estimate, there is a dimension.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I would say 60 feet.
And to be clear, that 23 feet, it looks to me that's just the two-story volume, correct? Or is that to the?
Correct.
So to the actual fourth-story volume, with the exception of the stair tower, I was trying to understand how far back that is, just for perspective.
The stair tower is actually at the rear of the site.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so if you stand on Montrose, you won't even be able to see the stair tower. And the third floor at the front elevation steps back, and the fourth elevation, or the fourth floor steps back even further. And those are the locations of the common open space that I spoke about earlier.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thanks. That helps me understand the mass a little bit better. Then also, I was just looking at there's a rendering with the lighting, and I was going to ask, is that accurate to the lighting plan, or has it been reduced since that rendering?
I'm sorry, or as it has,
There's a rendering in the packet
Right.
of the lighting, and I wanted to verify if that is accurate to the lighting plan provided, or if it.
I believe it is. You can
Okay.
confirm with the applicant.
Okay, okay. And then the other question is, I was just, there were a lot of trees at the front of this site, and I was wondering, did Urban Forestry review this? If so, I missed it.
They did review it, but the large prominent oak tree is being maintained.
Okay, okay.
So,
Okay. And just to clarify, there's no, in our purview, we can't request more affordable units on a project. Is that accurate?
You are accurate,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
well, I should say you can request, but the developer doesn't have to
Okay,
provide it.
thank you.
Additional questions? I have a question on, right above the parking entrance, there is the balcony. I believe that would be unit 201, if I'm not mistaken. What would be that balcony width? I can't see it on the. I see it on the third floor. It's specified, but I can't see it on the second floor.
It needs to, I don't see it either, actually. It needs to be a minimum of 4 feet.
And that would be true on the north side, or I'm sorry, west side as well.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to invite the project architect or the applicant to speak. I believe you are Eddie Alaverdian. Okay, if you can please state your name, and if you haven't given a speaker card, I would like to have. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. Okay. Thank you for having us. I'm Armin Garai with GA Engineering. We are the designers on the project. I'm pleased to meet you guys over here. We've been working on this for a few years, going back and forth, and trying to figure out how to deal with this project. Let me give you guys a few things over here that we wrote up. Okay. Here's a little write-up on the project, and so, over here. So
Do you have an extra copy of that?
I have an extra copy. I'll give it to you later.
Okay.
Let me make sure I got I want the other one. I'll give it to you. Okay. Okay. Anyway, this project, it consists of we're proposing a 42-unit mixed income project where 5 of the units are going to be set aside for affordable housing. It's going to consist of 37 two-bedrooms and 5 one-bedrooms. It is designed as a three-story of residential over 1 level of parking. The site itself is very tough site to work on. It is from the front to the back, we have 25 feet of elevation difference. So from when you stand in the sidewalk in the front of the building all the way to the alley that is in the back. It's actually, the alley is like a private road that's in LA County. It's not part of Glendale, but it is in LA County. So there's 25 feet from that are the street all the way to the street over there. So one of the questions you had was what elevation was at the alley. So the elevation alley is on the site plan. It shows it as 131.7. If you go to page A1. In the back, you got the elevation over there, 1317, 1322, and we are all the way at 106, all the way to 105 on the front of the street. So that kind of gives you an idea where that is. And there is a wall in the front. So when you look from the back, from the neighbors to the back, when they look, our parking is going to be all on the ground. So they only see the 3 stories above ground. And even at that, they're higher than our second floor or first floor, second floor of building, but first residential level. So they're even higher than that. So when they're being at their homes, when they're like 20 feet across the alley and over that, so when they look over the wall and they don't really see a whole lot. They probably might see 1 story at most from their homes all the way in the back. So it is not something that over them that will blocking anything like a big mass in front of them. From our project, basically, one of the challenges we had over here was just the topography. So one of the items that incentives that we asked for was to allow parking to be above ground. One of the conditions that City of Glendale has is like all parking needs to be subterranean, but how do they define subterranean or the grade? It's like from the street. So in order for us to provide parking to meet the code, we would have had to dig the ground 40 feet over there to talk in the humongous amount of grading and cutting over there to provide the parking. So it was physically not impossible, but it would have made the project just totally undone. It wouldn't be able to meet the requirements to provide the housing over there. So that challenge being there and the site being a trapezoidal, so yeah, I mean, we had all of the things that it really makes it hard to work with. But I think overall, we've came up with a good plan over here. We have a 42-unit, 4-story, or 3-story pretty much over a garage residential building, contemporary design. And I think just looking at the neighborhood around us is all 2- and 3-story buildings. Most of these buildings were built during 1960s to 1980s. I don't believe has been any new housing in that area for last 30 to 40 years. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's time to have some fresh housing over there, and it could really use that. It's a good area. I mean, we have a lot of friends that live over there, and I think it would be a welcome addition to the neighborhood. Setbacks. I mean, we talked about some of the questions about the setbacks and the massing. Over here, we have gone beyond what's required as far as setback goes. I mean, we have first floor 18 feet. I have a table over there. So actually, there is a table on the page, the cover sheet, where it has the required and the provided setbacks. And as you see, I mean, every floor at every level, we have provided additional setback to go beyond what's required. And just to be honest, I mean, some of this is the fact that what we have, the project, that site we have. I mean, we try to minimize shoring, so reduce the shoring. So, I mean, we increase the setbacks to do away with a lot of these shoring and to reduce the cost. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to do that.
I'm just going to allow a couple of more minutes, but if you please can wrap up the.
Okay, and in general, I mean, if you have any questions, it's a stucco building, it's a contemporary building. I mean, we think it looks beautiful. I think it would be a great addition for the neighborhood. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Sure, thank you. Any questions? Go ahead, Board Member Simonian.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification on the alley and the height. So I'm looking on sheet A 1.0, which is the site plan, and you've appropriately placed planters, you know, along the boundary of the property, which is very nice because it could actually help with the massing, et cetera. But the sections don't really show the depth, et cetera. And so my question is how deep are these planters?
Are you talking about the sides or on the front?
I'm talking these.
Oh, along the
planters?
side?
Yes.
Oh,
So the east, west, and north planters.
yes.
So at the bottom of the sheet, the top of the sheet, and on the right side of the sheet.
They are pretty much at grade. So, and they're not like and I have to go back and look at the LID.
When you say
whether
grade, you mean
there was some LID there. So most probably it's going to be like 2-3 feet deep.
And so, okay, so 2 or 3 feet deep.
Yes.
And are these on the east and west side,
Yes.
bottom and the top sides,
Yes.
east and west sides, those are 2 or 3 feet above the podium level?
No. They're going to be maximum a foot above the, when you say podium, are you talking about the building podium?
Like, you know, the walkway, if I'm
Oh,
walking.
no, they're
if
going to
I'm
be
walking-
like maybe a foot above the walkway, no more than that.
So are you breaking the slab and actually taking?
They're not slabbed. If you look at the go-to sheet, A 2.0, they're outside the building boundary. Our building is 14 feet away from property line.
Okay, so if I'm looking at sheet A 2.0,
Yes.
Okay, so your parking structure is set back, so that is on natural grade there.
Yes. I mean, look, we're gonna have a,
Fine grading, but it's on earth. It's,
no, but we're gonna have some LID planters that we're gonna use over here. So some of these, not all of them, but some of them are gonna be where they're gonna have like a bathtub type of thing where we can put the water in and get the.
that's not even my question. You're just not letting me talk.
sorry.
Please allow me.
Okay.
Okay, so the east and west setbacks where people are walking on that setback, and there's those stairs, that is on earth. On earth. And so you can have an opportunity there to have some lush landscaping. That's my question. Okay, good. Now, on the north side, again, you have, but on the north side, your parking structure does go all the way to the alley, to the LA County line.
Yes.
Okay. In that area, and that's why I'm clarifying these, because what you were saying before needs clarification. So on the north side, where it abuts the alley, how high are those planters that are along the northern property line?
I want to say right now, I just have to look at it, but they're going to be on deck. And you have to understand, we are 6 feet below the neighboring on the north.
I understand.
So I would say
understand. So they
2
are-
foot, between 2 to 4 feet for the planters. If there are trees, whatever the required the size of the planters is, so we do have the space and the height and the area to put the
You're
planters.
okay
on.
with 4-foot planters on the north side?
If there are
Does that
some
work for you
trees.
architecturally? Let me just ask, please, you've already gone past your time limit. So
So.
at this point, I get to ask questions, and then please entertain me by answering the questions so I could move this hearing along at a timely pace. On the northern property line, abutting the alley, do you see any problems with having a 4-foot planter that starts at the podium deck level at the top of the garage and goes up 4 feet along the northern retaining wall?
No.
Thank you. And similarly, on the west side as well, that's on grade, and so there's no issues there as far as deeper, lusher, taller trees on the east and west sides. Wonderful, got it. In regards to your, now I'm going to change gears on you. Going upstairs into the balconies, you've proposed glass railings for all the balconies? Yes or no?
What it shows on the plan. Well, actually, you know what, they call them mesh. If you go to, I don't want to say because I'm not getting into all of
Yeah,
that.
because
But
the
if you go
elevation shows
to,
some sort of
I
a
know, but if you
glass.
go to,
There was glass in the front and mesh on the sides?
yeah, mesh on the side and the glass in the.
And then the mesh is that on the material board? This mesh, I see, so it's on A3.5. So all the railings, and do you see any problem if that becomes more opaque or more solid or anything like that on the east or west side and north sides? Okay,
We can change the size of the mesh to create more
right, yeah,
screening.
okay. Those were my questions. Sure, thank you.
Thank you very much, Board Member Simonian. Board Member Welsh?
So I want to zero back in on that northern property line, because you're saying that the alley will be about 6 feet above the level of the first floor. Basically, the top of the podium deck for the
Keyboard.
parking will be about 6 feet,
Yes.
give or take.
Yes.
So the section shows a 6-foot height wall there, which I presume would be a retaining wall holding back the alley. But is there other fencing back there? Is there anything else separating the back area, that back common open space, from the alley?
No, whatever we need. Look, there is, and I have to go back and look at, there is a wall already there. There is an existing wall over there. So we do have to look at maintaining that wall or adding additional.
Is
We
it on your,
definitely
is it
go-
on your
yeah.
property or the county property?
It is not a county, it's a private road. It is in LA County
Okay.
area, but it's not it's
Oh, so there's
it is a private road.
Homeowners Association or something back there?
Something like that, because originally we had looked at possibly even getting access from there, so they said, no, that is that is not something we could have done.
I see.
So
Okay.
if there is guardrails that needed to be put on top of it, we are okay to put a guardrail on top. We don't want to put anything more than 6 feet or whatever minimum that we're going to need as far as a wall there. Anything above that, if needs to be, to protect the people on the north side from falling out, it will be a guardrail, no more, we don't want to extend the wall any more than what is there. So the wall at maximum will be like 6 to 8 inches above the grade at the street to make sure water doesn't come in, but other than that, it will be,
Yeah, 'cause the street slopes along there, so you're going to have to adjust for that.
Yes.
So.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, if I can reference, maybe I can bring some clarity to this and we can get some confirmation from the applicant. I do have the site plan up with some spot elevations. Adjacent to where it says alley, it has a spot elevation of the alley being with an elevation of 131. And adjacent to that has a top of wall of 134. So that wall will be about 3 feet above that finished surface of the alley. And I believe what's below the top of wall of 128, I think that's the planter, if we can get confirmation from the applicant. And you can kind of follow along the north property line, that would give you an idea of the elevation spot changes. So I speculate that the planter will be 3 feet below the alley, and then the top of wall will be approximately 3 feet above the alley wall. So if we can get some confirmation from the applicant, that would bring some clarity. Yeah.
Is that the case?
there is an existing wall, okay? And that existing wall right now, the height of the wall is there. Now, we're going to build the building adjacent to that wall. We will do our best to maintain the wall. But if there is no, but for whatever reason, we cannot make it structurally to maintain the wall, then we might have to break the wall down and build a new wall. At that point, it is based on the survey that we have, the wall it is on our property. So based on that, if we need to, we can adjust the wall. I mean, look, we want to make sure we have something people don't fall out.
I guess the confusing part is there's the alley elevation at 131, and then there's another elevation of 128, and then your top of wall elevation is 134. So there's an existing wall, and if I'm understanding correctly, you're building a second wall on your property line. Is that?
Yes.
So you're not touching that alley wall, the existing alley wall. You're trying to maintain it at 131.
The alley wall is our wall.
It's your wall. Okay.
If it is not belong to the adjacent properties, we will do our best to maintain the wall as it is, because it would be not better if we can maintain the wall. If for whatever reason we cannot maintain the wall, we will replace the wall.
If I may just ask a question here. The existing wall, I'm going to use the pointer here. I believe this TW, being the spot elevation of 134, is referencing this wall along this line here. Is that correct?
No.
So if this is referencing, you're talking about the wall immediately
Oh, this is this wall they're talking about.
around, right here. If I know when you speak, please get to the podium. If you want to use the pointer, you can use the red button here. If you can, if you can go to the podium, speak into the.
I'm sorry.
I just want everyone in the to be able to hear our conversation. That's
So
all.
that shows the, no, these are the survey points. These are not these are the survey points right now, and that's the wall right here, 134, 128, 129, and that is not that's the existing wall right there.
Yeah. I think we got the idea. So.
Okay.
So I have a question on, I don't know if you can bring up sheet A3.4. Just going back to the lighting question I asked earlier.
That's
Just
the rendering.
The rendering, I just wanted to confirm, is that accurate to what your lighting plan is currently? It's a little,
You know what, I don't want to say it's accurate to what's there, but we will have some lighting. I will be shielded lighting pointing down. It will not be something that, okay, you can condition it as
Okay,
you see
okay.
fit.
So
But I don't
reduction,
wanna say that is the
right,
exact
right, we
thing.
can
No.
make reductions. Yeah, and the other question I had was, in that view, in the lit view, you can see the kind of taller tower in the center a little more clearly. That is all just balconies in a sense, right? I mean, it's just walkways. Am I understanding correctly? Other than at the far side of it is the elevator, correct? But I was just thinking that there's opportunity to lighten that up a bit, and I didn't know if you, and open it, so it's more railing than mass. And so I wanted to see if you had explored anything like that.
That area is like semi-open corridor.
Right? So there's potential to open that a little bit and break up the massing, correct? Just wanted to see if you'd explored options like that.
You know, for whatever reason, I'm just being vague. We've worked on this back and forth with many different versions and
Okay.
whatever it is. And I remember at one time, we had the railing over there, and for whatever reason, we had the group meet, and everybody else said, no, just change it back.
Okay.
So I don't want to say yes or no, whatever it was, but I am fairly certain at one point we did have a look or render or some drawing with some
Right.
railing and some opening over there.
Okay.
And right now, when I'm trying to think back why we didn't go with it and we came with this design, I cannot recall, okay? And some of it might have been because of, I don't want to say, but I think, I'm pretty certain we looked at it.
Okay.
And we had the group meet and everybody looked
if it
at it and
come-
said, we don't like it the way it
If
looks.
it comes to you, you'll have a chance to rebut at the end, so thank you.
And my final question regarding the balconies at the front. Mr. Kiesel, Mr. Rogers said that it's minimum 4 feet. Is it 4 feet or is it more?
You know, I was just talking with and I don't want to say, it's definitely 4 feet, but I think it was 5. I don't want to say for sure, but it was definitely more than 4, or 4 or more, but I think just the recollection was 5 feet over there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. You can have a seat and we're good. So, the next, just so we're respecting everyone's time and we can have everybody heard, we would like to limit the public portion or public comment to 3 minutes. You will hear 2 ring bells. The first ring bell means you have 30 seconds left. The second ring bell, it tells you your time is up. So it's, if you can please wrap up your thoughts, that would be greatly appreciated. So next individual, Eddie Alaverdian. And if you can please state your name for the record.
Eddie Alaverdian. Good evening. My name is Eddie Alaverdian, and I'm representing the ownership of this property. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening regarding our project of 42 units housing, including 4 designated for very low income. We acquired this property in August of 2021. It's been 5 years. And we are here today to present the result of combined effort of our design team, together with the input and guidance that we have received from City of Glendale, various departments and representatives. A great deal has changed during the past 5 years. We had experienced the end of the COVID-19 pandemic, significant higher interest rate, inflation, shortage of rise of cost of construction material, devastated fire lives that affected some of us, and changes to both the City of Glendale and the State of California regulations. Each of these factors have directly or indirectly affected the plan, design, and feasibility of this project. Throughout this process, our team has met with and discussed various revisions of this project with the city planning staff, other departments, the city manager's office, both present and the previous city council members. We have listened carefully to their inputs, concerns, comments, suggestions, and we have worked diligently to incorporate their feedbacks into the project wherever possible. What you have before you today is this project of 5 years in continuous effort, collaboration, and careful considerations. This project supports the goals and policies of city housing elements by providing much-needed housing, includes affordable housing consistent with the state of California housing mandates. It has been designed to comply with all applicable zoning requirements and regulations, including the specific application to Montrose La Crescenta neighborhood. We have before you the city staff report, the architectural plans, and rendering of the proposed building. Our design team leader was here and tried to answer your questions. I thought I was going to go first, so that happened. I just want to add that each residential unit has been estimated development cost of approximately $500,000 to $650,000. These 5 affordable units represent an investment roughly of $3 million. These units will be directly contributed to the City of Glendale affordable housing goals and benefit the Montrose community at no cost to the City of Glendale. We believe this project presents a thoughtful and responsible investment in the future of the community. After 5 years of working closely with the city and representative of many challenges, challenges and changes that have been occurred along the way, we respectfully ask for your support in helping us to make this project a reality.
Okay.
Thank you for your time, your consideration, and service to the City of Glendale.
Thank you. Next speaker I have is Jane Dutfield. Yes, please. Yeah, and if you can speak to the microphone so everybody can hear you here and everybody on TV. So if you can bring it to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
For the record, kindly just state your name.
Jane Dutfield. I really haven't got much to say. I'm a long-term resident of Montrose Avenue, 30 years, and I live directly opposite the old church. It's a shame it was let to go in such disrepair. 2 main things. I think this new project is too high. Most of the buildings along Montrose Avenue are 2 and 3 stories. So why this would need to be 4, I don't know. I see on the diagram the big tower thing looks like it's the worst part of it, the highest part of it. Secondly, is the parking. There are street parking. There are lots and lots of apartments along there, and most of the apartments, a lot of people in those apartments rely on parking spaces on Montrose Avenue. I don't personally. I only have to park there once a week when the gardener comes and I have to move my car. But I know that by evening time, you'll be lucky to find a parking space on that avenue. So how they came up with 69 parking spaces, I don't know. I mean, that really doesn't even allow for 2 parking spaces per unit, does it, if there's 42 units? So where are all these extra people going to park? Would be my question. That's mainly it. I will say that the traffic coming down La Crescenta, and then they're turning onto Montrose, when you try to come out the driveways, and I'm on the south side, so it doesn't really matter if you're on the north or the south side. The north side, they're going to make that left-hand turn. They're going to be coming out of that building, making a left-hand turn to go east. And the cars, I don't know if you noticed on that diagram, the cars are heading all along the avenue. So it's the same for me coming out on the other side. It's kind of dodgeball to get out of there, you know, because you can't see, your view is pretty much blocked by the parked cars, so you can't see what's coming. And sometimes they come zooming around that corner off La Crescenta Avenue. So you've got, I don't know how much that traffic is going to be coming in and out of that building, but that's another, thing that I wanted to bring up. So that's it mainly the height of it, the parking, which I don't think is adequate, and yeah, that's about it. Okay, and I have lived on that avenue for 30 years, so I kind of, I've observed things. But mostly, if you drive along there, you see most of the buildings are 2 and 3 stories. They're not 4 stories high. So it would be nice to see something consistent with the rest of the buildings. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Next speaker, I have Bella. If you can please state your name for the record.
Of course, my name is Bella Dadivanian, and I represent residents of 2831 Montrose Avenue, which is a building on the west side of the proposed project. Let me start with that this project is not welcome in this neighborhood at all, because when I was speaking to my neighbors from our building and the neighbors who live in the alley, everybody had concerns about having 4-story building in its place. So first of all, one of the main reasons that most of us rented apartment in our building was that it is peaceful. That is going to radically change with the beginning of the construction. We understand that construction is unavoidable, but the problem is that all the bedrooms in our building have windows facing the church and its parking lot. And our windows are literally 3.5 feet away from the property line. While the demolition and construction are going to create an incredible amount of noise, dirt, and dust for at least a year outside of our bedrooms, the worst part will come after it is completed. A 4-story building is going to block all the light and airflow to our windows. We won't be able to open our windows during the construction or after it because there will be windows of proposed building directly in front of our faces. The visibility through our apartments from the 3rd and 4th floor of the newly proposed building is going to force us to keep our shades closed at all times. With at least 100 people who are going to reside in 42 proposed apartment units, traffic will increase dramatically on the Montrose Avenue. It is already too difficult to find parking, as a previous speaker mentioned, and after completing this building, finding parking around our building is going to be simply impossible. And it will increase density on our block because, 100 people more on our block, it's a big difference. We understand that LA County is in housing crisis, and there is quota from Sacramento to increase amount of housing units for each city. While it is better for environment to use the already existing lot instead of taking a new one from our wildlife, it is also important to consider how this project is going to affect already existing residents of surrounded buildings and houses. We urge you to reconsider at least the size of newly proposed building. There are no 4-story buildings on our block, and that monstrosity right outside of our bedroom windows is going to make our lives miserable. I have signatures of our residents of our building here, and also
Bella, if you can please the time is up. If you can please wrap up.
just
Here.
one more comment. Sure. If this project will be approved, I would like to suggest that at least there will be trees planted on the property line between our buildings, because as we know, they provide oxygen, they provide shade, they absorb noise,
Yeah.
and they also will provide some privacy.
We heard the idea. Thank
That
you.
will be all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, Rubik Ohanessian. I'm sorry, next speaker. I meant to say next speaker.
Good evening. My name is Rubik Ovanessian. I'm a resident business owner, property owner in City of Glendale. I am a real estate development specialist In my last 30 years of development, acquisition, caused as a broker about 10,000 apartment units, hotels, assisted living. I've worked on the downtown specific plan for City of Glendale, modifying it, getting it written up, working with Director, Head of Planning, Elaine Wilkerson. And then I worked on this historic districting with the comments that we brought in, my team. It got better, and when the staff sent it nationwide, it won awards, historic districting guidelines and requirements. I worked with the Director Hassan Agani on the San Fernando Road specific plan. So this is what I do. My background is a development broker. Downtown specific plan under the guidelines, 4,000 units have been developed. I'm proud to announce that 1,900 of those units, I brokered those deals, worked with the developer, architect, and the city staff on cooperation, getting the best design out of it, and getting them developed and entitlement. I want to compliment the architect working on a great, very difficult site, front to back. There's the 27 feet of elevation gain. It's an angular lot and neighbors' issues. And several of the speakers touched on the parking. This project has 8 additional parking stalls, and by eliminating one of the driveways that currently exist, 2 driveways, city would pick up at least 4 to 5 additional off-site street parking stalls. Sometimes you have to look at it critically, look at it, see what it is, what is happening. I want to compliment the city senior planner, Roger Kiesel, working with the developer, design team, getting the best out of the design team, the ownership, with the additional setbacks, extra parking, working the issues of the site, get beautiful design. I want to ask the architect to come to Glendale, do more projects, because these are the types of projects that we welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker card, I have Henry Abrari, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing, but if you can please state your name.
Henry Abrari, I'm a business owner, design professional, City of Glendale. Not only that, I actually used to live in the area on Piedmont. I walk the area every night, and I love Montrose Shopping Park. I walk it, I patronize it, and I see this project as walking all the way from Honolulu to Montrose every night in front of this project. I fully support this project. I'm in support of the project as it was mentioned, not only because of the affordable housing units that's going to be added to the area, but as far as the modern design that has been sort of integrated into the La Crescenta Rook with the preservation of the oak trees, as well as the rocks as part of Rock Crescenta, and also the project being close to the mass transit, La Crescenta Avenue, Montrose Avenue, the new bike lanes that are on La Crescenta Avenue that provide mass transit, very much in line with other cities that are pushing and forwarding mass transit close to the developments, as it is metro or as busing and so forth. But as far as this project is concerned, it's a modern approach which I see quite often in other cities, and I like that. I welcome that, as well as having more units, providing more support for Montrose Shopping Park, the property being very close to the schools in the area, CV High and other elementary schools and middle schools. Overall, I just want to say this design brings a breath of fresh air, and I'm in full support of it and appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Next speaker I have is Emily Macchiato. Sorry.
Good evening. My name is Emily Machicado, and I live directly across the way, which is 2809 Montrose, which is the white set of 11 condos there in that area. All our balconies and bedroom windows and dining room and kitchen face the balconies that they're planning to propose on our side. Okay? So we have a definite invasion of privacy on our side. Okay. The other problem that we have is the driveway. The original church driveway shows that the driveway there is an entrance, and it goes around, and on the other side, on the opposite side, is the exit. So we only have like 2 feet of space, and we're gonna have 2, I guess, entrance and exits at the same time in the same area, in the same space, which is, you know, potential for crashes right there. That's our driveway, is right there. Our driveway is there, and the church entrance is right next door. And that's where they're proposing to put their driveway. So we'd like to consider that they put the driveway on the other side of the building instead. And then I'd like to know if the city records for that development and the parking concessions allow for subterranean parking, as we, you know, everyone has mentioned. The parking is horrible there. Between the hours of 10 in the evening, you see 4 to 5 cars circling the block, trying to find a spot. I myself have to run, tell my boss I need to leave now in order to get a parking spot. It's this, you know, it's that parking problem that we have. Let's see what else. Okay, so was the 2019 ground level parking concession actually exercised within the required time? Was it ever extended? Is it still legally valid? And does it apply to the new 45-unit proposal? And is it, you know, the previous concession is no longer valid? Then I would ask the city to require the developer to comply with the parking requirements. As it was mentioned before, that 69 is barely 1 parking space per unit. So if they can, you know, apply 2 parking spaces per unit, that would be a better proposal for the development. And then, of course, the beauty of our community is also 2 stories, 2 to 3 stories. So them building something larger than that is just going to ruin the look and the community that we have there. All right, thank you for everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker I have is Grant. I'm sorry if I'm. Why don't you state your last name?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Grant Michaels. I'm the president of the Montrose Verdugo City Spar Heights Neighborhood Association. Following Board Member Simonian's comments, looking at the map, that is how we started looking at this project. In the Crescenta Valley, as a design style, we like to see buildings step with the topology of the land following the slope. So we looked, if you look at the Google Earth view, showed a better job of showing that the roof lines in the area do step down. Following the individual townhomes to the side, they step down. So we started looking at the back of the lot. My understanding, and can be confirmed as many people asked, the alleyway is there's about a 3 or 4 foot wall or space to the top of the wall. On the parking lot, that's about 6 feet. So there is a slight elevation difference there. That is a retaining wall. So looking from that side down, from the back of the building, we really don't have a better way to try and have this building step down the lot. With that 3 residential stories at the back at grade as a standard and the parking beneath it, it does seem appropriate for this design to have the podium style going out to the front. The parking is not exactly visible, even though the driveway entrance is. So that's something that we were considering with the mass and scale for the project. The above-grade parking, in that sense, does seem appropriate as a concession. We do appreciate the increased side setbacks to provide for additional privacy and distance between the properties to the east and west. As was already touched on, we would like to see additional landscaping, ideally trees or something that would grow significantly taller than shrubs at the side and the back. If it is entirely possible that the side property lines are on earth and not above a foundation, we would like to see trees. For the back, we'd like to see some other significant screening, because the two-story structures with a slight elevation, we're concluding without being able to see the full plans, are about the same height. So having some type of screening at the lower levels would prevent the privacy concerns of looking down into lower windows as opposed to directly across. In general, if we can have that landscaping as a condition of approval, this is a project that we can support. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant. Next speaker I have is Shane Lee.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shane Lee. I am the chapter president for Glendale YIMBY. We are a volunteer local pro-housing organization in Glendale. We are in love with this project. We encourage you to approve it forthwith. It's not a word I use very often, but I think it's appropriate in this context. The current site right now, as you can see, it's just an empty lot. It looks gross. Anything you could build there would be a massive improvement over what we have now. It doesn't have to be perfect, but anything you build will be better than a empty lot. It looks gross right now. Build anything, it'll be so much better. The conditions you provided, they're cool. I don't think they're necessary, but you're the experts, not mine. But I appreciate that we're keeping the conditions minimal. Again, we need the housing immediately. We want to make sure that this gets built as quickly as possible. So I appreciate that your conditions are simple and easy to understand, but pretty simple to implement. Also, I went to there's the Locker Center Presbyterian Church right across the street. I went to that preschool, and I always thought, man, this is such a great neighborhood, but it's really expensive. And it's not that dense, even though it's such a great neighborhood, because there's a limit of 3 stories. 4, 5, 6 stories, that's what we need to start building on that street. I'm disappointed.
Excuse me, we can't have, please go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I'm disappointed it's not taller. They got the concession to go 4 stories. 5 or 6 would be better. Let's go 10, that'd be ideal. And when it comes to parking, housing is more important than parking. We need to make sure people have housing before we make sure that their cars have a place to be when the car is empty. So I've always thought that this area needs more density. I love that it's 4 stories. 5 or 6 would be even cooler. One more thing, Glendale has amazing schools. If any of you have kids, you know that. In order to go to Glendale schools, you have to live here. If we don't build housing, that means people can't live in our district, and their children will not benefit from those good schools. What we've done in Glendale is that the housing prices have become so high that we've created a system where only people rich enough to move into Glendale can get the privilege of sending their kids to good schools. I don't think you should have to be extremely wealthy to send your kid to a great public school. But as it is now, if you want to move into Glendale and start a family, you need to be extremely wealthy. Building units like this, we need to do this more often, will allow lower income people to move in here. I think poor kids deserve to go to good schools, and they need to live in Glendale to do that, so you should build this housing ASAP. It looks gorgeous. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker I have is Mike Borsov.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Mike Borisov. I've been a lifelong resident of the city of Glendale, and I'm currently at CSUN studying for my Master's of Urban Planning. So you should approve this project. It provides housing that we so desperately need. There's a state requirement, state goal, yada, yada, has affordable housing, is near transit, line number 90, and V-Line number 3 is near grade schools. I went to Clark. So I love the school system there. This has a bunch of 2-bedroom units inside. I grew up in a 2-bedroom. I lived there for like 15 years, and you can absolutely raise a family with that. So should approve the project. Something struck me in this meeting today, and I want to point it out. I ask, why do we treat new buildings differently from old ones? If nothing ever gets built because we don't like the design, construction noise, new neighbors, other arbitrary reasons, none of us would exist here today. No new apartments, no single-family homes abutting each other, no parks, nothing. Just make it all private land like it used to be. Well, not during the Native American era, before colonization, but all right, let's all go back to 1850s Glendale. Like 10 families own like hundreds of acres of land and no one else is right next to them. That's ridiculous. The same comments being made today about this project were said about those good, quote-unquote, 2- to 3-story apartments that boomed in the 60s, which included negative comments about their ethnic origins for the residents that live there, people from Mexico, Korea, and Armenia. This is pure nonsensical hypocrisy. The reason we have a housing affordability crisis today is because we don't build enough homes. Simple as that. It's simple supply and demand. We need to build more. We live in the 3rd most wealthy metropolitan area on the planet, only behind Tokyo and New York. When I tell people that, they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, only behind Tokyo and New York. And those places build. We should approve this project. There should be many more like this lying down the street. It's currently zoned for medium to high density, I believe, R1650. This is not even that crazy. I mean, we could really go higher, taller, denser. This is pretty common tame. You should approve it. It's a density bonus project. Many people could call this place home. 45 units, I believe. That's a lot of families. That's a lot of people. And by the way, those affordable units are for Glendale residents currently, people who are struggling to make ends meet currently. This would greatly help ease the housing crisis, the affordability crisis that we have today. Please approve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker I have is Cheyenne.
He left. He'll call in later.
Okay. Last speaker card that I have is Lisa. Lisa, yes.
Okay, so my name is Lisa Morris, and I live just 2 properties down from this proposal. And I've lived in the neighborhood for 36 years. So I've seen the growth and progress and that sort of thing. It is a wonderful neighborhood, so yes, people want to live there. I am not against this project, but I do think it needs some modifications. First of all, I appreciate the architect and developer preserving the oak tree. That's one thing the neighbors did care about. And that they're preserving the historic stone walls and are building that into the design as well. So kudos to them for that. The only comment I kind of have as to the design is the contemporary design, it is nice, but it doesn't correspond with the stone being preserved. And if you drive down Montrose and you see some of those craftsman homes with stones, I don't know why he didn't decide to put in a craftsman design instead of the modern design, because that would match. This doesn't match, though it is nice. And we had a proposal on that property a while ago that was going to be senior housing, and it was a craftsman style, and they did preserve the stone, and they put in more in the design, and they had plants all along the side to buffer the neighbors and that sort of thing. So that, I think, should be considered. I'm not sure why the proposed cobblestone driveway matters. In other words, that kind of matches the rock design, so why take that away? But it's not a big deal. The architect had said that that we hadn't had any new apartments or condos built in the area for years. That's totally incorrect. There's been a number of them built all down there, all along Montrose, going from Ramsdale in the other direction, going east. And they're all 2 or 3 stories. There's nothing 4 stories. So 4 stories will be the first time that we have 4 stories there. So please take all that into consideration for some modification, and we'd be glad to see it.
Thank you, Lisa. Any callers?
There are 4 callers.
Let's go ahead.
You ready for the callers? Okay. Ms. Therese, you're on the air with the Design Review Board. Can you hear me? Hello? Ms. Therese? All right, I'm going to put her back on hold. Alan Dish, you're on the line. Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. How are you? My name is Alan Dish. I'm calling to, in principle, support the project, but with some caveats. First, the tree definitely should be preserved. There was another tree, I think, a pine tree. I wonder if that will also be there. I'm glad the stone facade is being preserved. Yes, green housing, but I'm much more sympathetic to much larger. I mean, maybe not in this area, like in the fire zone, but to really solve the housing crisis, I think the solution will be like project style, even housing thousands or hundreds of units. But okay, I am also sympathetic to the residents who are, worried about protecting property value, safety of the community. I mean, more density also means stretching city services. So, and also, I don't think, we should make this into a left or right issue. I'm sorry to bring this up, but a certain representative, I will not say who, but of local pro-housing had called the neighbors far left communists. I'm not so sure if we can say that because, again, suburban politics, I don't think it's neither left or right. It's primarily regards protecting, again, perceived protecting property from whatever, perceived encroachment, privacy, and so on. So my last point, we should also be very careful to not make this, again, into a racial issue because there are, like, Armenians on both sides of the issue. Like, I mean, there was a lady Armenian today who was concerned because as a neighbor, she's worried about her neighborhood. From, again, the noise, the construction is temporary, I agree, but the solution to housing, that's my personal 2 cents, if I may say, will be even larger than the housing in the correct location. Like, I don't know, it's downtown areas, close to transit. It's good, this is near, but what is it, the bus lane, but we should be attentive to these details. So go ahead with the project, but we're taking into account the long-term ramifications, concerns of the neighbors. It's absolutely crucial to not discount that. And thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Jan, you're on the air with the Design Review Board. Can you hear me?
Hi there, yes, I can hear you.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so I was there in person earlier today. I will say it's my first time attending one of these review boards. I'm a homeowner in the city. I'm also a teacher in the school district. I want to say that, you know, it kind of reminds me of the show Parks and Rec, that we're just going back and forth and it's taking so long to get the ball rolling. It's my first meeting, you know, I had to go move my car and over an hour and a half before comments of ours. And for people who are working and have children and this and that, like, it's like we just need something built. Like we're in a crisis, a housing crisis. We're in an environmental crisis where, like, anything would be better than a vacant lot that is not used for 10 years. It doesn't matter, it's a church, parking lot, whatever it is, we need housing built. That's the bottom line. So we need to speed up the process, just as another person said earlier with how these other cities are building very quickly to address the issue. We need to be right up there. And to the people who are saying, you know, the noise complaints with construction, like, that's just part of constructing new buildings. Like, I'm a homeowner next to the Acapulco that's going to be changed into a car wash. Now, I would love it if it was a massive, you know, 10-story housing complex right there. Like, I don't care the noise, whatever. Like, we need that housing. So I would be a big proponent to want to get something built, like, right next door to me. So, yeah, I feel like these other cities are doing it. Even in the city of LA, you see in Hollywood or Koreatown, like, they're building density. We need that. And as another transportation, Mike, who's studying transportation, said earlier that, yeah, like, we need this. So, you know, we could go back and forth all day about the specifics, but just get something built, please. Like, we need to solve this crisis, especially for young people, especially for, as Shane said earlier, those with children wanting to go to the school district. Your income should not limit your ability to live in an urban place with great schools and transportation. Like, we need that for the future, for the next generation. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Sean, you're on the air with the Design Review Board. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay.
My name is Sean Gabra. I'm the president of the Homeowners Association of 2809 Montrose Avenue. We are east of this project we're discussing today, right on the border. And I'm joining other neighbors who are practically discussed the issue, with my whole due respect to the economy and everything. But we have a history of fear from this property, and we've been monitoring the project for a long time. We have no problem for City of Glendale to open the door for development, but to cut to the chase and be practical, we're concerned about the height first. It's 40 stories. It's out of place in this neighborhood, and we have all our bedrooms facing this area. Number two, we have the driveway right on the border, and as Emily previously stated, she's present, that's an issue for us too, to get in and out. Three, the traffic and the 69 units parking spot is totally unpractical. So this is a big problem. The parking in the street is a big problem. The traffic also. We have accidents in the intersection of La Crescenta and Montrose because of the morning traffic. So I would say I appreciate very much, but I hope that you guys have the wisdom to look into these matters from a practical point of view and listen to the neighbors surrounding this project, because we are really living this and we see it every day. And the height of the project, of this project, will be too much because we are a two-story building, and this is like too high for the residents of this building. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the enthusiasm in people that are giving opportunity for work and everything. But we're living here. This is our life, and we can't afford to move to any neighborhood. So please consider these components and these factors. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I'm going to try the first caller again.
Sure.
Ms. Therese, you're on the air with the Design Review Board. Can you hear me? Hello? I'm not sure she's holding anymore. So.
So that's all the public speakers. Either Eddie or Armin, you have an opportunity to rebuttal if you choose so. Some of the concerns that have been raised. Okay.
First, thank you for the opportunity. First, I want to thank everybody that showed up today to support our project. We really appreciate it. And second, to the people that are concerned. Okay, I'm not here to rebuttal. I mean, everybody has their opinions, and I understand that people live in the neighborhoods and they don't like change. But unfortunately, as time goes by, there is changes. There is changes everywhere. Like one of the people mentioned, there was at one time there were all single-family homes there, and the first apartment building that went over the two-story apartment building. I'm sure everybody in the neighborhood complained, why do we have a two-story apartment buildings here? Why do we have renters here? So, I mean, progress is there, and over time we do change, and we do have to accept it. I mean, we've gone through a lot of effort, try to provide additional setbacks for the people. I mean, we don't have any problem with providing landscape buffers on the side. We have plenty of space to provide that to concern for the neighbors. I mean, there is certain things we can do, certain things we cannot do. I mean, we have balconies facing their balconies. Yeah, they have balconies facing our balconies. They had, so I mean, it happens all over the city. There are people that live within there. I mean, in a way, when you look at it, to be in an apartment, to have 15-foot setback from your neighboring sideline, is not very many properties in whole LA County that provide 15-foot setbacks. I'm not saying there isn't, but 95% of apartment buildings do not have 15-foot setbacks to the neighboring properties. I mean, that would be 20 feet, 20-something feet with them. So the people on the right-hand side, the condominiums that have that, they have a driveway over there. Between the driveway and our driveway, that's like being across the street from each other. So there is nothing as far as the privacy issues that, I'm not saying they're not concerned. Yes, there are concerns, but I don't think the concerns are well placed over there. I think as far as privacy, we have provided enough setback to provide privacy for the people. Like one of the people said, that once we close the additional driveway, that would be 4 additional street parking that could be there. And I think some of the concerns as far as construction, I'm sure that the contractor, the owner, Mr. Alaverdian, will be very considerate of the neighbors and provide whatever means possible to lessen the impact of the construction. And hopefully we will have some good Glendale citizens over there. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. So at this point, I would like to move forward and close the public hearing portion for this case and move into deliberation. Board Member Simonia, would you like to begin?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to come out. Not easy to come out during the week and sit this long, and everyone has families, etc. So we appreciate that. And it's helpful for us because we get a lot of feedback from everyone. This is a state law, and the fourth concession really allowed this project, I think, to apologize. The fourth concession, I believe, really allows this project to breathe in that it eliminates the subterranean garage. And as Mr. Govanesian pointed out, there's a 27-foot grade difference, on the northern side compared to the southern side. So that is a big grade to try to work with. And so had that fourth concession not been there, and had the project been forced into a subterranean parking situation, it would have been a lot of grading, a lot of digging, but also a lot of cost for no apparent reason. So all that cost would have been sunk into the earth for no benefit whatsoever to the developer or to the public. And so that fourth concession really does allow it to, I think, make this project feasible. It's still going to be expensive. It's still going to have its challenges, but at least it becomes a bit more feasible. The way they've set back the eastern and western portions away from the surrounding properties is a positive. Of course, those abundant setbacks are good site planning. But also more important is the fact that the parking structure is set back quite a bit from the property line, and that abundant setback allows an on-grade kind of site setback, which now allows us to provide some nice landscaping buffer along the eastern and western boundaries. Not just a planter, but actually large trees planted on earth, right? And so that's, I think, a positive design attribute. In regards to the north setback, that becomes a bit more challenging, but definite solutions are present because the parking podium goes all the way to the northern property line, but a deeper planter, say a 4-foot planter, and then the wall, which will be, let's say, 2 feet above the top of the planter. But that 4-foot planter would allow a really nice, lush, thick trees planted along the northern boundary, which will, again, block a substantial portion of the 3-story on the northern side. The 3 roof decks that they have, the common open space, is a positive design attribute because every portion of the building gets its own common open area, so that is a positive thing. And I'm glad to kind of see it move on towards the street versus the other portions, so that would be kind of nice because it lowers the kind of massing along the street, and so that is positive as well. In regards to the driveway, of course, it's not ideal being next to the adjacent driveway. It could easily be shifted towards the center, but I think they're trying to preserve the oak tree, and so if you try to preserve the oak tree, you have to have well, that's one of the options, is to have it where it is. So it's like one of those lesser of two evils, I guess. Do you want to keep the oak tree, or do you want 2 driveways next to each other? If I was living in the apartment building or the condominium to its east, I would say, move the driveway because I don't want to deal with the nuisance. But if I'm a tree advocate, I would say, well, save the tree. So depends which court you reside in. I do think it's important for us to lower the planters kind of right adjacent to the driveway as much as possible for visibility. And I do think makes sense to get rid of that taller tree at the corner, not the oak tree, but the corner of the lot, again, for visibility. In regards to an urban setting, balconies, looking at other balconies, it happens all the time. This is not unusual. I do think, though, a solid guardrail will be a positive attribute to the future tenants and also to the adjacent folks. And so right now it's a mesh. I would, if I were the developer, I would do even a solid kind of a metal or some sort of a perforated that are 1/8-inch perforated holes. That would, I think, provide light and lightness, but at the same time would provide a layer of privacy for both these residents and the future residents. Looking at the elevations, I think the east and west elevations, sheet A 3.3, I think that elevation is very telling because it kind of shows how the site goes up in elevation, and at the same time, the building moves up in elevation as well. So that is very telling. One thought I would like the board to consider, I think the lower level, which is the parking structure, instead of it being the same color stucco, I wouldn't say it makes sense for us to impose a different material for that because it's a density bonus project, but it could certainly be a darker color stucco, maybe a dark gray or something. And so then the base of the building becomes more distinguished, more defined, and I think that wouldn't add any cost, but at the same time, it would help with the massing of the building. And similar games can be played along the northern side. So it's 3 stories, the last 40 feet, that lower level could again get a different color stucco band at the bottom, because they have those 1-inch reveals at the moment, which are kind of nice. So it really lends itself easily to doing that. So I think that in itself would create a building base without adding cost and at the same time providing some articulation. And so overall, I support the project. I think 5 years is a long time to be working on a project. There was another density bonus project, I think, proposed for this site not too long ago that didn't have the luxury of the 4th concession. So now the 4th concession, I think, helps to try to bring these kind of projects to fruition. And so I support the project. I think it's well done. I think some of these added conditions, which would be very easy to implement because it's already been designed as far as the planners are concerned, as far as the guardrails are already there. Now it's just a matter of specifying the material, and the color band certainly could be done very easily with 1-inch reveals. And of course, there's going to be other thoughts that you all have as well. So those would be my thoughts and considerations, or thoughts and conditions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Simone. Board Member Lackroff?
Okay. So first, thank you to everybody that came out and also to the designer and to staff. It's great to hear everyone's perspectives and have this conversation. I'd say overall, I do support the project. I agree with Board Member Simonian in that I think that if you could bring up that's the elevation that Board Member Simonian was talking about, I think it's really helpful, a helpful view. It's A 3.3. It's actually the lower one. There, if you keep going, it's the east elevation. Yeah, I can see it.
One more slide down.
Yeah, that one. I just think that the designer did, or the architect did work well with the topography. It appears at the back as a 3-story building, and then and further the street and buildings are even higher above, so it appears more like a 2-story building, which is more in line with the rest of the neighborhood. And at the front, it's so far set back to most of the building. I think the one area for me that I'd love to see as a condition is just to work with staff on that tower. I think that if you could bring it just to maybe a front elevation, it could be the one with the lights. Let's see, the 3D. That works as well. That works as well. But just that tower at is primarily walkways, and I do think that. Actually, could you bring up the rendering? I think it's a better view of what's happening at the side as well. there, I can see it there. Thank you. Yeah, just that side wall and front wall of the foremost, that taller volume, because it is open behind that, there's an opportunity to open those rails. If there's no other code reason that can't be done, I would love for that to be explored with staff. And then one other topic was just privacy at the side yards. As board members Simonian mentioned, there's a lot of room for plantings. We could condition adding tall trees in those locations for privacy. And the last condition I'd like to see is just a reduction in the lights. If the rendering's accurate, I think creating a lighting plan with staff and just bringing down the number of lights on the exterior. I think getting rid of those walls that I was mentioning, you already lose the lights that are a primary concern for me up at the top. But I think that staff could get a realistic a lighting plan. That would be the last condition I would recommend. That's it. But overall, I support the project, and I think that it's well done, that it really does take advantage of this challenging site, and it's sited well, and the massing's broken up well overall. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Lackroff. Board Member Welch. There we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So also, let me thank everyone who's come out, both those in favor and those opposed to the project. It's always great to get feedback from as broad a community as possible. I also generally support the project. I think that I have very little to add to what my fellow board members have said, but I'll just focus in on the front facade. I think that you've done a very good job there, stepping it way back from the street. It does not appear to be a four-story building from the perspective of the street, so I think that was well done. I particularly appreciate saving the stone walls and the tree in the front. I think while the stones may not exactly go with the design of it, I think that I'd rather still keep the stone walls for the preservation of continuity with the community, and preserving that element of what is essentially a very quintessential part of that community. I think the project does well stepping with the topography. It is a challenging site considering a 25-foot grade change from the back to the street. So I think it works well from that perspective. Replying to my fellow board members' comments, changing the color of the base, I think would be a good change, particularly on the east side elevation. I had noted that might be something where we could break it up a little bit more because the neighboring townhouses do look more prominently in that. But I also support adding taller landscaping. Trees, it's already calling for some privet hedges there, which maybe go to 10 feet, but I think if we can incorporate trees, interspersed with the hedges, I think that would go a long way towards helping to shield it. I concur with the lighting. We should have a condition in there not to have an overlit facade. All lighting should be restricted to entryways, shielded lighting, et cetera, to not overly pollute the facade with light. I support the notion of more obscured balconies on the sides, whether it's through obscured glass, a thicker mesh, whatever it might be, something that gives more privacy. I do note for everybody that the project is proposing all of bedrooms on the outside. So if it's, concerned, there's bedrooms facing bedrooms, that's usually considered an okay condition. So I think that lessens the privacy impacts that people might have had. The only other thing I might have added was rather than going with a crystal white stucco, that it'd be a little bit more earth toned. But, again, I'll defer to other people's comments on that. Aside from that, I support the project, and with those conditions, I think I'd be ready to move it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Welsh. I do share a lot of the comments that be made here. And first and foremost, thank you again for all, whether you're in opposition or in favor of the project, being present. Your voice is important for us to get the feedback, analyze it, and make thorough deliberation on every project, not just on this one. So I would like to focus on the driveway. I think the proposed driveway is significantly larger than the existing one. So it's almost 21 foot wide. I'm not sure what the existing width is, but from what I see on A 1.0, where the red lines are shown, the existing driveway. So that should help with the concern regarding the entrance and exit, especially with the adjacent property. Yes, the other option is putting in the middle, but that will, require removal of the tree. And then if they put on the other side of the property, then now the other neighbors to the west will have the same impact. But the fact that they're increasing the width of the driveway and the apron entrance of that driveway should eliminate that concern. As far as cobblestone stamped concrete, I think Roger mentioned that let's just make it a stone paver with cobble. You can find those easily. You can match it with the stone wall, existing stone wall, and that would look very nice instead of stamped concrete. And I'm sure as an applicant, you'll be more satisfied with the end result. Eliminating the tree at the entrance will help the neighboring property for entrance and exit safely. I would support that. Regarding on the sides, I'm not a big proponent for the obscure glass on the balcony. It just, that white or that glass when it just stands out too much. So I would prefer an 1/8-inch maybe hole of wire mesh or mesh balcony railing, especially if you're 15 feet plus away. That will look a solid piece. So I'm fully supportive of that. Implementing different colors, blending in earth tone colors will help with not only blending in but also reduce the mass of the structure. So I'm also in support of that. I just want to focus on my biggest kind of concern here is just at the front, especially on the second floor. Looking at the right-hand side balcony, it just seems not balanced to me. There's probably that sliding door at the most is going to be 6 foot wide. That gray box, that gray box around that balcony seems off balance to me. So we either increase I don't know if they want to implement another window there, or increase the size of the sliding door, or reduce that box even. I let the design team work with the staff, but I think they can figure out a better balanced look there. I think in relation to balcony on the left-hand side, it looks more balanced to me. I think they have more windows there, more sliding glass, sliding windows. So those are my thoughts, generally speaking. And yeah, I also support the project. I appreciate the setbacks, especially the setback from the main street, the front facade. So those are my thoughts. With that. Yeah.
There's a bathroom next to the bedroom. There could be a high window placed on the left side of that slider. Maybe
Correct.
At the header height, it would be kind of ribbon high window. Would that think?
I think that will bring some balance rather than just a wall, a recessed wall there, rather than just, it's an idea. We'll let the staff work with the applicant. And of course, specifying the width of that balcony is important. So if it's 4 feet or more, they can also work with the staff. So I think the probably applicant would like it to keep it at 4 feet. So. Okay.
Yeah, I think that window, that doorway could be made a little bit wider, but I think it's fine as it is, but it could be a little bit wider, and I think that would be fine. I forgot, we didn't talk about what your comment was
Yeah,
about the
sketch.
fourth floor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think that's, I mean, I could be wrong, Mr. Engineer, you can correct me, but that's probably like sheer wall that's gone on up there, so that might be a challenge to open that up considerably, but I have no problem putting it as a condition for the staff to work with the applicant to see if that could be opened up more.
I'd be happy with, a condition or a consideration, to, just like you said, to work with staff to see if they could open it. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. It could actually look really nice if they are able to open it up more. But again, there might be other constraints that I'm not aware of. So yeah, if you could work on that. And I was going to say regarding the other comments, I largely agree with the paint colors suggested with a darker band at the base. So I think we're all very much so on the same page with the
trees.
conditions and the trees, the tall trees, for privacy. And I agree with having balcony railings that are a little less transparent for privacy as well. But there are so many products out there that can achieve that. So I don't know if we want to be super prescriptive on that, but yeah, there are several. Even patterned things that are pretty great looking. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Then I'll move to approve the project with some conditions. I assume the staff comments we're in agreement with on?
Fine, yeah.
Okay. The east and west landscaping planters shall be on grade, on earth, and shall also besides what's proposed, shall integrate taller trees.
Correct. For privacy.
Privacy. Along the northern property line, a 4-foot planter shall be placed on top of the podium with similar type of landscaping with trees. The east and west, I apologize.
That's okay.
I apologize for a moment.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. And so on the east and west setbacks, the first floor, we could try a darker color stucco up to the reveal point.
Correct, yeah. That's,
Chin.
yes.
All the balconies shall consist of a guardrail consisting of a metal mesh with 1/8 of an inch.
Well, I think specifically these are the ones on the sides of the buildings.
side,
The front
yeah.
had the glass, and I
Yes,
think
good
that was okay.
clarification. So the east and west, do we want to do the north as well, or no?
I don't recall how much
because-
I don't know
balconies
if there are any balconies on the rear.
There are balconies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
yeah, there are.
I mean, just for the consistent look, I think it makes sense.
It does.
So the east, west, and north balcony shall consist of a metal mesh with 1/8-inch perforated openings.
Sure.
Overall reduction of the facade lights in and around the building to a minimum level.
Yep.
Correct. Minimum amount of lights versus.
Minimum amount of
minimum
lights.
Yeah, correct.
And
Earth tone colors?
earth tone colors, so replacing the white with earth tone colors, perhaps something more in line with what's depicted in the package, an ivory color. So-
Also,
And then a consideration?
yeah, consideration for a reduction of the mass of the tower by, for the open spaces here to be, if it isn't required structurally, to open this up more would be.
So then
the
a consideration to work with staff to try to create a more open feeling in the front
Correct.
Towers.
tower
Right,
element.
that is circulation and can be open, it's just open behind it.
Am I missing anything?
Yeah, the other one was reduction in landscaping at the areas of the driveway
that's right.
for safety.
Right. So
Yeah.
eliminating the tree at the corner and also lowering the planters.
As long as it's not lowering the existing planters. I wouldn't want to damage or
The rock, right.
affect any of that. And essentially, I'm not sure it's going to be that applicable, because remember, this is angled street parking. So the people will be able to pull out much further into the street than normal, parallel parking situation. So I don't
So
think
maybe
it'll
just
be-
the trees? Do we
Maybe
want to
just the tree-
just
yeah,
eliminate the tree at the corner? So that would be my motion and consideration, unless I'm missing something.
It's the front facade sliding door, bringing some balance to that balcony.
So it'd be nice to kind of prescribe something just so they can move along, right? So you could widen the slider, or do you want to add a
window,
bathroom?
I think
bathroom
the
window.
Bathroom window
I think that
seems,
makes sense.
So, and then another condition to add a bathroom window in the front balcony over the driveway garage gate.
Pardon me, it would be like a brow window adjacent to the slider.
That's right.
same header.
Same header,
Like
yes,
an alignment.
matching the head height.
Exactly.
Got it.
So that would be my motion.
Let me just peruse my notes, make sure there wasn't another question I had.
Oh, and in general, supporting staff's conditions as well. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm fine.
I second the motion.
And this will be roll call. I do have a motion by Board Member Simonian, second by Board Member Lockroff. Board Member Lockroff?
Yes.
Board Member Simonian?
Yes.
Board Member Welsh?
Yes.
Mr. Chair Halajian?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. And we do have a second item this evening. Would the board like a break?
Maybe short.
This is an option.
I think we can go.
Staff is ready to go, the board's ready to go, we can keep on going, but,
A couple of minute break, please, yeah.
okay, so we'll take a 5-minute break, or 5-minute break. Okay, thank you. And continuing for this night's evening's agenda, we have item 7B located at 2760 Hermosa Avenue. I am going to turn this over to our case planner, Wyatt Berger, and he'll give you a brief overview of the project. Wyatt, go ahead and take it away.
Sure. All right. Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate it. And I just want to say I appreciate everybody being here so late at night when we should be at home eating dinner. You know what I mean? Today's second case is case number PDR 005725, 2025. Project address is 2760 Hermosa Avenue. Just a little bit of background on the site. Here we can just get a little bit of understanding and context of where we are in the city. We're very close to the previous case that we just heard. We're also located in the R1650 medium high density residential zone, located in the Verdugo City neighborhood in North Glendale. Some context about the site. It's a 10,200 square foot corner lot. We're located at the southeast corner of Hermosa and La Crescenta Avenues. What's currently existing on the site is a single family home and a detached garage. The home was built in 1940. And on the site, there are also two rather mature Coast Live Oak. In order to construct the property, both of these mature oak trees will be removed, but they will be mitigated, and I'll further talk about that a little bit later. These are just a few pictures of the site. Again, corner lot. Picture at the top left is the front of the home. You can see one of those Coast Live Oak. The access to the site is off of Hermosa Avenue. It will continue to provide access to the site from Hermosa Avenue, just the location of the driveway will change. And then down below, you can see that detached garage with that mature oak tree on the left side, all of which will be removed. So like I just said, there's an existing one-story single-family dwelling with the two Coast Live Oak to be demolished and removed from the site. What's proposed is a four-story, 17,000 square foot multifamily residential building. The site is going to feature 6 two-bedroom units and 6 three-bedroom units. That's going to be 12 units total. 2 of those units are going to be income restricted for 2 very low income households. The project is also providing 18 semi-subterranean parking spaces. And as I just mentioned, those 2 mature protected trees that are going to be removed, they will be mitigated with the planting of 8 additional Coast Live Oak and 3 additional scrub oak. So we're going from 2 protected trees to 11 on the project site. And of note, the existing city street trees along La Crescenta Avenue will remain. Just some more context and background on the site. Of course, the project's exempt from SECRA review as an infill development project because after review and consideration of all of the technical reports, staff determined that the project meets all the conditions for an infill development project. The property is also not considered a historic resource under CEQA based on preservation staff research of the property. And then last April, a density bonus decision letter was issued. This project was granted 4 concessions in exchange for providing those 2 low-income units. Those 4 concessions involve increasing the height and number of stories on the project. This project would be limited under typical zoning to a maximum height of 41 feet. It is proposed to have a maximum height of 51 feet for the overall bulk and a height of 60 feet for that elevator tower facing Hermosa Way or Avenue. It's also increasing the floor area ratio from 1.0 to 1.66. Eliminating the amount of required additional common outdoor space that would have been required under current code because of the width of the lot, which allows an increased density on the site. And then our fourth concession is to decrease the street side setbacks along La Crescenta Avenue. There's a small portion of La Crescenta Avenue that has a setback ordinance that restricts the street setbacks along La Crescenta. So the project is reducing some of those setbacks, maybe around 10 feet or so. And then, of course, the project qualifies for the mandatory parking concession based on the number of units being proposed and the number of bedrooms. 18 parking spaces are permitted under density bonus, and that's what the applicant is proposing. And I'd like to give just some more context of what's surrounding the site. So we do kind of have a variety of different architectural styles and massing. So we have some one-story commercial adjacent to the site, as well as some 2- and maybe 3-story multifamily residential nearby and across the street. So this is the site plan. It also involves the first floor plan as well. So there you can see on the site plan the locations of those additional protected trees. This project has been reviewed by the city's Urban Forestry Division, and they are in agreement with kind of their tree replacement strategies and mitigation efforts. Landscaping is also proposed to be drought tolerant and complementary to the Spanish design of the building. Again, density bonus, concession to eliminate the requirement to provide the additional common outdoor space. There is still some being provided at the rear of the lot. That's located kind of in this triangular portion here. It's also located partially on the rooftop as well. The building footprint will be triangular, kind of mimicking the shape of the lot. And again, a driveway will be leading to semi-subterranean parking with a new driveway on Hermosa Avenue. So this is that semi-subterranean garage plan. So, waste enclosure will be located in the garage. They are proposing tandem parking, which is permitted under density bonus. But this just illustrates what's being proposed. And then we have our 3 floor plans, and hopefully that's legible on the big screen. So these are the second, third, and fourth floor plans for the project. One of the affordable units is going to be located on the second floor, and one of the affordable units is going to be located on the third floor. So we're dispersing it a little bit throughout the development. And then again, this is the landscape plan. So there you can see those city street trees in addition to the new trees. Again, planting should be drought tolerant. Complementary to the site planning and the design and detailing of the building. And these are some of the elevations. So these are the street-facing elevations. The north elevation is the one that's facing Hermosa Avenue. That's the front elevation. And then the west elevation is facing La Crescenta. So you can see that the site slopes downward from north to south. You have the elevator tower that's toward the higher portion of the site. So that allows the project to better follow the topography as recommended in the hillside design guidelines, or I'm sorry, the multifamily design guidelines. And then, you have different fenestration patterns, you have different projections and balconies that kind of alleviate sort of the massive appearance of a 4-story building here on this lot and for this project. And again, you can see more of that sort of facade, articulation being proposed, kind of with the cornices and the different window styles and all of that. And this is the applicant's material board. So again, project is going to be, Spanish colonial in style, which I feel is pretty atypical for new multifamily developments. We're going to have windows that are recessed into the exterior wall with sills, so that kind of adds a little bit of architectural finishing and detailing to enhance views of the project from the street. Again, we have that clay mission tile that's emblematic of the style. A pretty simple entry doorway, so we're alleviating sort of a monumental appearance when viewed from Hermosa Avenue, and some light fixtures as well, a little swirly, but again, sort of complementary to the style that's being proposed. So just to wrap my presentation up, staff is recommending approval of the project. We have a few conditions. So the first is to obtain the required permits from Urban Forestry, to remove and replace those existing oak trees, and to protect the existing city street trees. Urban Forestry also had additional recommendations. We would just like the applicant to meet the intent of those recommendations. A new driveway, like I said, is being proposed. The applicant hasn't provided sort of a cut sheet or product detail of what the proposed interlocking concrete pavers are going to look like. I'd just like to see, or staff would like to implement a condition to be able to see a cut sheet of what is being proposed. And then there's some precast sort of features or detailing of the project. Staff would just like to see any cut sheets of any EFS architectural elements to be submitted. And just to note, we did receive several comments regarding the case. I believe you received those comments, but we saw a lot of comments relating to the removal of those oak trees, building height and number of stories, kind of setting a precedent within the neighborhood, and more specifically, parking and congestion. With parking concession less than what's typically required for multifamily development under current zoning code. So just, again, many issues kind of regarding on-street parking being a potential issue. And that concludes staff's presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you very much. Questions? Bless you. Any questions to the staff? No questions. Thank you very much. Would like to invite Mr. Hamed Zohrabian.
Good evening, Chairman Halajan and members of the board. My name is Hamlet Zohrabian, and I'm the project architect. And for the record, my address is 3467 Ocean View Boulevard, Suite B, Glendale. So the project before you has been here once before. So previously the project used to be a 6-unit project which was approved a few years ago. And it was very well received, basically. And what we did, we basically took that project and we had an opportunity to go to 12 because there was a reason for it. Is because we went all the way with the 6 units, all the way to make it ready to issue for building permit. And so we had done, we bear the cost and all the engineering, everything that there was. But unfortunately, because of the economies, the situation that was going on, it just did not pencil out. And so it was a complete loss to the owner as far as that is concerned. And then when we realized that there are assembly, ordinances and everything that was being implemented and all of that thing, it just gave us the courage to approach the project in a different way. And so include and request for density bonus for the project, and that worked well. And so what we did then, we took the existing, the project that was designed before, and because as you noticed most probably, it's because it's the shape of, it's a triangle shaped lot that we're dealing with. So there's not much that you can do with it. There's a very difficult way of putting the structure there. And so we had actually the oak trees, the existing oak trees, which we had received approval to cut one of them, but we were preserving the other oak tree. that was taking up so much of the space there, obviously. It was making it impossible for us to actually go anything further than 6 units. And so because of the density bonus was granted and we approved for it, we were able to take out that oak tree and to mitigate by putting 4 oak trees, new trees, for each one that is being removed. And so the way we approached this project is that the first meeting that I had, I personally met the urban forester of the city of Glendale, and we had a meeting, short meeting there. So we went over the discussions and all of that thing, and he was very much in agreement. If we are going with the density bonus and we are able to do extra units there, and so there was an agreement there, basically. And so we draw up the plan, the schematic plans and everything, sent to urban forestry, and then they approved it in just before even we went into much detailing of the project itself. So it was already reviewed, and we agreed to replace those 2 oak trees with 8 oak trees. And so another good feature of the project is that because it's facing Hermosa, the frontage being on the Hermosa, we have already had a 20-foot minimum setback, which was landscaped all, and that provides a good buffer between us and the property across from the Hermosa Avenue. And 2 of the oak trees that are in the street currently, the existing ones, they're going to be protected and they will be all kept, so there's no damage there. And the building itself, with the current zoning, you can actually build 7 units, which makes our base unit, because in calculating it becomes 7.72. You're rounding it up for housing, and the base unit being 8, and we're allowed to go 50% over that. So eventually we go to 12 units that is allowed, and we need to dedicate 2 of the units for a very low affordable housing. And so that's all decided. We went into, applied for the density bonus, and after obviously months and months of being in the planning department, we received that approval on April. So we received that approval, and now the project is before you as far as the design review board, which is continuation of that. So the housing has been involved, housing have seen the project and all the recommendations that there was. So it was developed in such a way, and in design review board, we have received 4 conditions of approval, 3 conditions of approval, I'm sorry, I was thinking of the other project. So the 3 conditions of approval, we are all, obviously we will comply with it. We just want to say that. The project speaks for itself, is pretty, consistent with the style of the development. We're talking about very smooth plaster outside. It's a little bit, it's not just regular apartment units that you would see in the vicinity. This is going to be mimicking basically what you see normally in Santa Barbara or, that area is there. So it's more of a new and fresh look of it. And I'll be available for any, because my time is up. In the interest of time, I like to see if there is any comments or things that will come up with which I can, answer that. If there's any
Sure, Board
comments.
Member Walsh.
I have a question. I remember the project quite well from 2021, and I do remember liking the project. But that project, the garage access, was on the La Crescenta side. Now it's on Hermosa. So explain why that has changed and why you couldn't keep it on La Crescenta.
Yeah. Well, as you most probably, I've said these things several times. Perhaps, I have expressed it actually, not maybe directly. But my intention is to reduce the amount of grading. My intention is to lessen the impact of the project itself. La Crescenta Avenue being more of a traffic-prone kind of, street, and there's more traffic there than in Hermosa. Most of the existing developments on Hermosa, I'm talking about the multifamily ones, they always have their driveway off of Hermosa rather than La Crescenta. La Crescenta's entry that we were entertaining before was giving us the opportunity for the 6 unit. But when we are going to the 12 unit, this sits much, much better. We have done several sketches with the structure. It reduces the amount of grading, reduces the impact on the traffic on the, on La Crescenta, which is a secondary highway. But when you're going to the, Hermosa street, it's a more of a local street. So from local street, it's much easier and forgiving to go into the subterranean garage. And so we don't see any garage doors per se. The whole garage is a one level, becomes a one level instead of going like multiple levels below grade. One level garage and completely subterranean garage. And so that was the study that we have done from the get-go. And that's the reason that we did.
Mr. Chair, member of the board, I do have some familiarity with the first one. I think one of the major drivers is that it preserved the mature oak tree with the expansive canopy. And I think with the project, and you can just confirm with me, by moving that garage to the La Crescenta side, it helped preserve and not damage the root zone. But now that the applicant's desire to provide more, the trade-off would be, okay, we remove that mature oak tree, move the driveway over there. It will affect the root zone, but then they're going to have a replacement ratio of might be four to one, maybe even 5 to 1 or something, or almost, yeah.
4 to 1.
So, just
I
putting some
understand, it's
recollection there.
just that the site slopes.
Yes.
And so the lower end of it was actually, the driveway was pretty much at street level. So you'd be entering the garage basically with no ramp at all.
That is
So-
true. And then we had also ourselves, we were looking at it and we were saying that cars are going to be stopping right at the entrance of it. And it might cause a little bit more congestion on that side rather than on Hermosa, because then you will have just one car going in and one car coming in. It's a typical scenario that any of the, of their existing structures that they have. There seem to be less traffic, impact there.
Possibly, but I mean, it's a narrow driveway, and now you've got a full ramp. So you've
Yeah,
got
it's a full ramp.
two-way traffic going on a fairly long ramp to go fully subterranean one
Well,
level.
Not at the same time, though. Not two-way traffics at the same time, but.
Maybe
you know,
not, but you might have
yeah.
a situation where people are trying to do that, Whereas if you had it all at grade level without a ramp, maybe you don't have as many potential conflicts. So just food for thought. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Board Member Lacroft, you seem to have a question.
Yeah, just a detail on the tree replacement. What size are the trees? They're being shown quite large, but I was wondering what size are the trees being replaced?
Oh, yeah, there are a couple of trees that is shown with dashed line on my site plan.
Okay.
Those are the trees right almost in the center.
Mhm.
What we had done with the 6 unit that we had before, we were preserving that within the open area that we had, kind of considering. But that project was completely different because it did not obviously include any density bonus.
Right.
And with the density bonus, we have no choice but to actually increase the building, and that's why that replaced the building, the other units replaced that location.
Actually, I was wondering what size are the actual trees? The
What
new,
size?
The new trees,
Oh,
yeah,
the new
yeah,
trees.
gallon,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm
like
sorry.
how big-
I
yeah.
apologize.
No,
I think
that's-
they're minimum 4-inch box.
Okay,
24-inch box minimum,
okay.
yeah.
That's correct. 24-inch box.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're sizable.
Okay, thank you.
One more follow-up question. I note that you have HVAC units marked out on the exterior of the building. These are, I assume, mini splits of some kind?
On the exterior of the building?
Yeah, if you look at like the first floor plan, there's some little HVAC units marked
These
out.
are
there.
the slim kind and the very small that you want, it's not going to be visible.
It won't be visible.
No.
Okay, even when you got them on the third and fourth floor, there's some that show up like in sort of adjacent to balcony areas. Those will all still be hidden behind walls.
Yeah, exactly,
So-
because the balconies are semi, wall and rails. And so strategically, we put it in a place that it won't be visible. from
Very
us.
good, okay, thank you.
And one of the things very nice to hear is because we actually have a corridor that is not completely enclosed, and then the air goes through it. So that helps even aesthetically, because when you're looking at the building, they're kind of separated looking, but they're not actually separated by structures. They're connected together.
So the
that's
front
what
entry
this
will be
one-
more like a gate of some kind?
Well, the second floor and the third floor, you will have railings, obviously. But
Even
downstairs,
at the first
yes.
floor, just
Yes.
gateway going through there,
Yes,
okay.
yes, absolutely.
So is there like some type of louver then that's covering it, or how
You
are
mean
you hiding?
upstairs?
No, on the HVAC, on the exterior.
HVAC?
Yeah.
Well, there
How
will
are
be a
hiding?
solid piece that is like a door on
Ah.
one side, and then the front of it is just a plastered
Got it.
part of the wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Board Member Simonian, any questions?
question.
No questions. One question that I have was the agreement with the trees, was that 1-to-4 ratio, or that was the standard, or that was the agreement that you reached with the urban forestry?
Well, that was, normally, generally speaking, that is the ratio when they allow you to cut a tree. And in City of Glendale, normally it's replaced by 4 ratio to 1. And that's what the outcome of our meeting was. And that was from the very get-go, because it was a very important issue for me.
Yeah. And can you, I know one of the conditions was Eve's stucco system. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Eaves stucco,
Yeah.
oh, you're talking about IFAS? Oh,
IFAS,
yes. Normally, some of the buildings I've seen that, which I don't really like myself, is that they will bring a foam and then they will just apply it to the plaster and just do a very tiny, finish coat on it. That doesn't look good because they're not going straight and, but the one that I have, I wish I had brought the sample with me, but I'll be more than happy to show it to the staff. But it is actually precast material which is already pre-made in segments. So when they bring it, it's still lightweight. It doesn't require any structural support, but it has already a built-in foam within it. You see that one there on top?
Yeah.
That's just from outside. It's exactly how it looks like. It's a very smooth, and it's precast looking, but inside of it is all filled with foam. And it's all pre-made, and so that's how we're going to be doing. We're not doing everywhere for every window. This is not for every window. And like for the entrance around the entryway and some areas that we have spec'd, we're just going to use that as an accent.
Would you still put a finished coat of stucco on top?
No.
No. Okay.
It's itself. We're not going to be putting on that.
Would you say this is less prone to cracking, unlike the smooth stucco, where this
Yes.
is precast?
Yeah, absolutely. It's because there are already segments, and so in any movements or something, if there is any incidental crack or something, it will be right at the joints.
Mm-hmm.
But the smooth plaster, one of the things that we always learned is that to go with a white color, because that's you can always come back and then cover the your cracks and all. The cracks, sometimes incidental cracks around the windows, that happens, but that's what you do. So if it's a white color, they can actually flare it and you can do it. And it won't show because the color doesn't dissipate. But if you go with a colored material, then that does it. And then in that case, you have to come back and then paint it actually with elastomeric paint.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's all my questions. Appreciate it. Thanks. Would like to open for public comment. First speaker card I have Lisa Morris. Oh, would you like, okay, Grant Michaels? All right. I just put them in the order received, so it's, go ahead, Grant. Split your
Good
name.
evening.
Yeah.
I'm Grant Michaels, again speaking as president of the Montrose Verdugo City Spar Heights Neighborhood Association. We spoke at the previous iteration of this project as well. In reading the staff report as well as the decision letter for the density bonuses, I have questions and would like to see clarification of how the calculations were made. This project and the project on Montrose Avenue, the zoning is the same, the slope is the same. The Montrose Avenue project was 3 residential stories over a garage. This is 4 residential stories over a garage with a rooftop deck, with the same concession for height. That I would like to figure out how to get better clarification on that issue, as well as the other concessions, as how they're calculated. The rooftop deck and the AC equipment The designs didn't quite show that. So I had this very specific question of where the AC equipment is, whether that is on the roof, near the rooftop deck, which would detract from the use of the rooftop deck. If they are on the balconies, that alleviates that concern. We do oppose the 100% lot coverage on this site. The setbacks and the design of it look a little strange from the street with it just being a massive structure. The driveway originally was on La Crescenta. We opposed the driveway on Hermosa. Having it in La Crescenta would eliminate the length of the driveway, which would allow that driveway space to be counted towards open space or reused with the project design. The 5-story elevator shaft that is visible on Hermosa as a relatively blank wall, we'd really like to see that redesigned, move towards the center mass of the building, where the height of the elevator tower wouldn't be quite as visible. It would be obscured with the mass of the building, and you wouldn't have that flat wall visible from the front facade. In general, we oppose the 4th residential story. Looking at, again, the other project and the zoning, we think that is excessive. And with moving the driveway to La Crescenta, that may allow for open space and FAR to be diverted from that 4th residential story down to the other stories. In addition, reducing some of the unit sizes from 3 bedrooms to 2 bedrooms would also be able to allow the 12 units to be built without the need for that 4th residential story. In summary, we do not support this project as designed. We would like to see our recommendations taken into account and have this project returned for redesign, hopefully with 3 residential stories, 1 level of parking, and a better site design and massing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker card I have, Lisa, would you like to go? Sure.
Well, this will be real short. I support and agree with all of Grant's arguments and his recommendations should be taken into account. Architecturally, the building is very attractive, and I do now remember the earlier one. And I was pleased that they were able to save the oak tree and build open space around it. It would be really nice if they could still do that with one of the trees at least. And yes, it would require a redesign, but I do not know how difficult that would be or economically how that affects, but that's my only additional comments.
Thank you, Lisa. Next speaker card I have is Mike Borsov.
Good evening, board members. Thank you, staff, for the great presentation. This is a beautiful project.
Your name, please.
Oh,
If you can state your name.
Mike Borsov.
Thank you.
Yes. I think you should approve the project. Spanish Colonial, it's really gorgeous in my opinion. I have a soft spot for these type of buildings. I prefer a more contemporary look, but I can make exceptions. Wow, state density bonus law. It's amazing. I studied public policy at UC San Diego from 2023 to 2025, and AB 1287 is the exact law that I wrote my policy memo on. This is an AB 1287 project. I had a couple ideas of what a building would look like using this type of density bonus law, and it far exceeded my expectations. It's beautiful, it has 3 bedroom units, and it has 2 affordable units. This is literally the missing middle housing that we want built in our cities, or at least I want built in my city of Glendale. You should approve the project, it's really pretty. I think lowering the height doesn't make it a better project. I think it makes it a worse project. I think keeping the 3 bedrooms makes it a better project. It houses more people. And I don't know what else there to say. I thank the applicant for waiting all these years to build something that shouldn't have taken this long. It's quite frankly embarrassing that there are people in opposition of this project because of sightline views or, I don't know, privacy concerns. It doesn't really make any sense. If you live in a 2 or 3 story apartment building right now, or even a single family home, you can just as easily look into your neighbor's bedroom or living room like anybody else. This is like a nonsensical argument that people's windows are somehow guaranteed privacy in like a free society. Close your window. Put some curtains on or some shades or blinds. What? I lived in a 22-story high-rise at UC San Diego. It was a student dormitory. I was on the 15th floor. I remember a community member coming in saying, students are using binoculars to look into my backyard. I assure you, we most certainly were not doing that. Similar to here, people who are going to live here are going to be enjoying the views of the city of Glendale, the mountains, and they're going to be enjoying those 2 affordable units, one of which are on the 3rd floor. That will be a great unit to the lucky individual who's a resident of Glendale and gets that unit. Anyways, please approve the project. I support it. I'm so glad that state density bonus law has come to this level of greatness. Thank you.
Thank you. Any callers?
Yes, we have one caller.
Let's go ahead.
All right, Brandon Kalpin, you're on the air. Are you there?
I am.
Okay. You may begin.
So my name is Brandon Kalpin. I'm the HOA president of Hermosa Oaks. Our HOA is located 4 buildings to the east on the north side of the street. And I can kind of sum up what this project is trying to do, which is it's trying to put a size 12 foot in a size 6 shoe. And I understand that housing is important and that we need to have more housing in our community. So I'm not against more housing. I'm just against the height of this building. Makes no sense. The renderings show larger buildings on either side of it to try and make it more proportional. When you put a 4-story with a elevator facing our street, it's just out of proportion. It doesn't make sense with the scale of the rest of the buildings in the neighborhood, and I am against 4 stories. I think the driveway scenario doesn't make sense. I was there for the initial review with the 6 units, and having the entrance on La Crescenta made more sense. Our street, Hermosa, it is you can't pass 2 cars with how people are parked on both sides of the street. You have to pull over in order to pass. Adding 12 units is just going to add more congestion. It's going to cause more problems with emergency vehicles, trash trucks, everyday commuters that go down that street. It makes no sense for the entrance to be on Hermosa. And I also just don't understand how the city grants all the concessions when having a building that's that size at the entrance of a street. It's just so massive. It just doesn't. You're going to end up ruining the corridor of La Crescenta. So I don't really understand the setbacks of like 7 feet from the sidewalk are just not enough for something that's especially 4 stories tall. I'm devastated about the oak trees. I was, not happy when the initial design had 1 tree removal, but now removing both is just crushing. I mean, yes, you are replacing it with trees, more trees with 8, but they're about the size of a baby's wrist. So the size comparison to a mature tree to 8 very, very small trees, it doesn't equate. So I'm thoroughly against at least this design. I hope that the design can be reconfigured and make it work for the neighborhood.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
We have no more callers.
All right. You have the opportunity to rebuttal if you choose so.
Well, first of all, as far as the setbacks are concerned.
Your name again.
And my
for-
name?
Yep.
Okay, Hamlet Zorabians, I'm the project architect. I guess whoever is reviewing the plans, I mean, there are certain things, stands out for them, because everyone is concerned about certain things. Well, the setbacks are not just 7 feet. Setbacks that are on the street side, for the first floor, we're required to have a 5-foot minimum and 8-foot average. So they're averaging up. I mean, as you're going up to the second floor, the building is set back three additional feet. When you go to the third floor is set back 3 additional feet. The way we have designed it, in a sense, it might not look like it, but that's what it is. Sometimes we go extra, setback to just make a wall segment with on top of each other. So the average are not minimum 7 that the caller was, with all due respect, was mentioning. He's talking about the tower that is right in the front of it. I mean, there are a lot of things it can alleviate if that's because the tower itself that it sits actually deeper than the front setback. And the front setback that we have there is 20 feet. And then the tower is not popping out. It's just basically within that cavity that we have created. And we can actually add on fenestrations to it if there is anything that we can do, some horizontal, lines that is coming to it. Perhaps we have the second and third floor railings that can come into it. So the issue is that could be worked out as far as that's concerned. As far as the driveway is concerned, I mean, what we went through with the first submittal, there were some concerns about La Crescenta because that was a highway. There was a secondary highway. They actually wanted us to have the opportunity to have the entrance from the Hermosa side. And so that's what we took that as a positive note and we implemented on this design. This is for just 12 units. I mean, we're not talking about 40 units or 49 units or whatever. This is not a very large development. It is true that it's not tiny units that incorporated in the building itself, but I mean, it's a very comparable one. We have two bedroom units, and 6 of them are end units, which are the lending itself for the 3 bedrooms. I personally see this project is very nice, and it's going to be adding to it's going to be improving the site. The 4th floor is really necessary for this to be able to actually provide for those 2 affordable units. And I mean, I don't think with all due respect, I don't think public is very much informed as far as what is going on. The Housing Act, Accountability Act is very strong housing proposal that is being implemented by the state, and it's effective everywhere. So what that does to us is that they're just discouraging from disapproval of projects. I just want to read a comment here. A local government, this is what they were saying. The local government must approve a housing development project that complies with all the objective rules in the general plan, zoning ordinance, and subdivision ordinances, and design standards. The government must approve the project at the proposed density that was proposed, the density. So their intention is to provide more units. And what it is that we don't find this thing out after we've designed the building. We've started with this project, which didn't make sense economically. So when we started the project, all these ordinances helped us out. And what we are doing here, we are providing for affordable housing. And we are dedicating 2 units for the affordable housing out of the 12. Then we are allowed to go with those 4 concessions. One of them being the height and the 4th story, as you saw with the previous project. And every project is using that because you need more space, you need more area to be able to provide for the affordable housing. And all these things are in play. I mean, this is not a very simple thing that without any thinking, we've just slapped something there. I mean, we've been discussing and going with it. I'm not sure what kind of impact this will have to affordable, to the density bonus that we have already received approval for. If we change the driveway location, for instance, if we do that, then we have to go back to them. I mean, as far as that is concerned, I'm not sure what kind of impact would that have. But if that's going to take to achieve this approval for this project, that's a different condition. It doesn't mean that we have to redesign everything. It's just the location of the, entry to the garages. So that's it. I don't know what else. Is there any other comments or any questions that you can have that I can clarify? I'll be here.
Sure, go ahead, Board Member Lavrov.
Just a quick one. You touched on the elevator tower, that you had some ideas on how to address that comment. Can you reiterate what those ideas were?
Yeah, I think it's very best to see A4.1, which will be the front facade.
Okay.
I think that will be more descriptive of this. You see how the second and third floor balcony or the walkway railing is coming into the tower? That we were not showing this thing on the 3D. So there are some elements that are coming into it, which is changing the mass there. We have horizontal, cornices that we can actually continue on it. We can actually add another fenestration to above it. I mean, there are things that we can do with the tower itself. It just doesn't, it's not as easy as taking the tower and just putting it in the center, because we have a garage on the below, which it's just not going to work with it. And so that we can do. I mean, and all of that we can do, but the fourth floor is really necessary for us the most to be able to provide for the affordable housing.
Did you look at having the tower? I know the parking below is the issue, but did you look at it being next to the other stairwell at the back of the property? Or there might be other reasons why that you can't have it there, but I was just wondering.
Yeah, well, first of all, when we were talking about the tower sort of element with the elevators, that needs to have a proper setback from the property. So if I push it towards the side, then it has to observe all the setbacks that we have. And the setbacks going for every floor, we are setting 3 feet setback, the building. It just doesn't work with it. And so we have to put it in a centrally located location.
That makes sense. Okay, I see. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Not from me.
Okay. What's the width of the driveway entrance? Do you know?
It's an 11-foot driveway.
Okay.
Sorry, I do.
And what we're going to be doing, we actually, the existing driveway, which is 23 feet, we're going to be closing that off on Hermosa.
You're making it smaller.
Well, I mean, yes, we are making it smaller. The new one is a smaller width than the other one, because the other one served a single-family house, which is on the lot, which belongs to actually the property owner and developer.
Did you consider a different base color, similar to, to take down the massing a little bit, or finish or color?
No, we can consider that. I'm just, I like that very smooth white color that you see, like I said, in Santa Barbara style. It has a very, very nice grace into it. But if there is a opportunity to do different colors, that's fine. I mean, even other materials. But I think introducing other materials, it might not go with the purity of its style. But colored is okay. I mean, maybe the first level could be different color if you want to, or whatever you can suggest. I mean, I'm okay with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. At this point, I would like to move ahead and close the public comment portion and move into deliberation. This time, would you like to start with Board Member Welsh?
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you again for the community and Mr. Zarabian's with your design, which really is a very strong echo of the original one. It's almost just like it grew up a little bit, but it's definitely still the same character and style and quality. I think it is a very well done design. It is, obviously a little jarring, being a 4-story. I think Mr. Michael's comment about not understanding the 4 stories here, because in the other case we had, the 4th story was basically used for parking. So it was 4 stories above ground, but it was used for parking in that case. In this case, we have subterranean parking. So that's still allowed, and then you can have the 4 stories above, if I'm understanding correctly what's the situation.
Yes, it was granted by the density bonus, and I did look at the comparison. If the board would like to know the comparisons between the density bonuses afforded with concessions, I can go into that if the board would like that.
I don't think it's necessary. So coming back to the project here, it is tall, and it's doing a good job pulling things back, articulating, using the different balcony forms. So I think it's very good in terms of how that's done. I kind of like the idea of maybe the changing the color of the ground level sort of walls around the base and maybe the driveway into some kind of a darker color, grounding those baseline walls. But I think the structure itself, can be consistent. I like the careful use of arched forms. It's not overwhelming it, but it's done nicely, particularly at the upper levels. That really brings about some style to the design, and some of the little cues, like the little 3 pipes sticking out at the top for the attic vents. Those little touches. The 2-piece tiles for the roof. They're a genuine nod to the actual style of the Spanish colonial. So I think that those are well done details. I do think that some additional work can be done, so I would be in favor of a condition that says to restudy the elevator tower, to maybe break it up a little bit, add some detailing, maybe some additional fenestration. They'll have to be fake windows, of course, but you could do something to help break that up a little bit. I'll come back to the driveway location. I think La Crescenta would be a better location for it. It seems more logical to me that you have an entranceway that is at grade level without a long ramp, but I don't feel so strongly about it. I understand, the design of the project might be, pretty impacted by that kind of a change this late in the stage. And I understand the logic that Hermosa is a lower intensity street that might make more sense. But I think the neighbors have a concern about the traffic on the street. It is a narrow street. I visited the site again for this project, and, it still might make sense to bring it over to La Crescenta, but I don't feel so strongly about it that I would derail a project if everybody else wants to proceed with it, but I don't know. I don't see any logical or practical reason why it couldn't still be done and still achieve the same parking objectives, but I'll leave it out there and conclude. But I generally support the project. I think it's very nicely done. I think the neighborhood does need the housing, and while it's considerably more massive, it is done by right under the density bonus laws. We don't really have any jurisdiction or discretion to say you can't have a 4th story. It's not within our purview under state law. So all that considered, I think Mr. Zarabian has done a very good job doing something that is beautifully done and minimizes the impact of what could otherwise be a very massive project. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Welch. If you don't mind, Board Member Simonian, would you like to go next?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's really interesting how we have 2, density bonus projects that are both in the Montrose area this evening, and and they both are 4-story, right? So, and it's going to be a trend. This is going to be something that's going to come our way more and more. These laws have passed. We do have a housing shortage. The state is trying to push housing forward, and the state is trying to increase the number of concessions every so often, right? From 3 to 4, ultimately there'll be 5 and more, right? To try to loosen up the standards to allow for higher density. Now, well, what is, I think, coming our way and will continue to come our way and will be a norm was 4-story apartment buildings. It's been a norm in LA for many decades, and it's going to be a norm moving here. Now, some folks may not like that, but it's just the reality of the world, and you know, that's just where we live. And if you're looking for housing and you want housing, you would say, well, why wouldn't you put 4 stories here? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do 5? Why wouldn't you do 6? Why would you not do that? And the people that live next door say, well, because of X, Y, and Z, right? So it all depends on if you're trying to raise a family, if you're trying to live in a city, if you're trying to get decent housing. Now, what's interesting about this that I like is the fact that it's got 3 bedrooms, right? So it's for families. This is not one of those projects that is just pushing the density but has a bunch of 1-bedrooms and some 2-bedrooms. This is going to be actually the type of housing that people are priced out of in the Montrose area, in the Locker Center area. It's a very desirable area. It's a great area to live in. And the Spar Heights area, right, to get a home there, you're talking serious money. And even a fixer in the Locker Center area is certainly over $1 million, right? So it's just, how do you justify $1 million plus with 2 workforce housing folks that have to get a 7% interest rate? It's impossible. It's very difficult to do. And so this is what we're mandated to move forward on from the state, and I wholeheartedly believe in it. I wholeheartedly believe that this is the future, and this is not a big deal. It just is not a big deal to worry about 4-story multifamily buildings. However, it's going to be a transition. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time for people to get used to it, but it is here to stay. I like the fact that the architect took the effort to do a more traditional style, but in a modern way, to try to create a more traditional style for the neighborhood. And it's not easy to do a Spanish-style 4-story home, but you've done it, and you've done it well. It is not easy to do that. It's much easier to do a more contemporary building. And so you could tell an effort was made to try to, you know, appease the neighborhood. And I appreciate that. I think that is a good gesture for us to acknowledge, and because it took a lot of design time to do what you've done versus the rest. I do like the detailing. I do like the materials. I would imagine that at the end of the day, this is going to be a building that's going to fit well when the rest of the neighborhood kind of builds up to it. So I don't particularly have an issue with the 4-story. I'm like, you know, I don't particularly have as strong feelings about the driveway as well. I remember there were some issues when it was on Locker Center. People were saying, well, that's a highway, that's this, or that, or it's going to be busy, it's going to be dangerous. If you don't like a 4-story building, you're going to find 20 things to say about this that give you plenty to talk about on the podium. That's what it really comes down to. But the reality is that we can't say no. You guys have to understand that we can't say no. The concessions are state law. They've been approved. Here they are in front of us. And now we have an architect that's really making an effort to try to create a nice 4-story building, and it's still not good enough for some folks. So I think there needs to be an acknowledgement of the effort that went into this. I don't have an issue with the design. I don't feel strongly about the driveway either. I'm okay where it is. Staff's conditions seem well thought out. I do think that very easily there's things that could be done with the current location of the elevator tower to make it blend in. I mean, there's some horizontal features that are adjacent to it that could be extended. There are instances where, you know, there could be some indentations built in to the stucco feature itself that are very Spanish related style-wise, ornamental metal kind of railings over the openings, a million things that could be done. But I think it's a fair statement to say, you know, work with staff to do that. But I would even make that a consideration. I don't even think we want to be putting these kind of conditions on a density bonus project. And I think the architect has been around in Glendale so many years, he's going to continue being in Glendale. He'll do it. And so I support the project. I don't have an issue with what any kind of thing. And I feel bad about an architect that's got to stand up and justify the 4th level. That is a state law. I just think that we just need to get beyond that. So I support the project. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Board Member Lockroff.
Just well said, Board Member Simonian, and just in terms of what the state law is and how nicely designed this is. I think you've really, you have a high, there's a high level of detail, even just how you're hiding the HVAC units, and just it's a thoughtful design, and I can appreciate, you know, the articulation and just it's a tricky site, you know, in this triangle to work with, and I agree with having 3-bedroom units is unique in some of these kinds of structures, and so it's going to be really nice for some families to live here. I do think that I think the tower having it a condition to work with staff. I support this project moving forward, but I would just love to hear from everybody on whether it's condition versus consideration. I do think there are very simple things, like you said, bringing that can be done to achieve that. And then the other thing was just the base of the project, just the color of it was the other suggestion for a condition. And the driveway was the other item. When I was there, it did feel tight on Hermosa. So that was, I don't, again, feel as strongly about it, but that was a concern for me as well when I went by the site. So I'd love to hear what my colleagues think too.
Sure. Thank you, Board Member Lockroff. Just want to add on the state law, the public also, it puts us in a position where we're kind of stuck in a hard place on a rock, right? Because it's a law, we cannot go against it. And what the public need to understand is if the city does not grant the approvals in a timely manner, the applicant can go to the state and get the approvals from the state. At that point, even this, what we're trying to achieve here, state can take it over, and we have no say in this. So it's to the benefit of the city to keep it on our level. At least we can dictate the design. At least we can dictate blending in with the neighborhood, the color, the hardware, etc. So it just wanted to add that comment as well. So, and I appreciate how well you put it, Board Member Simonian, on the state laws and how we have to maneuver around it. And sometimes I battle with it internally too, because there are some applications that come to our desk, and it's this one size fits all in a situation where the site and the proposed development, it just doesn't make sense. It's too large. I mean, we had one where Glendale lawyer was present in our meeting, and we couldn't say no to the project, even though probably that project was probably the right. It was probably the right thing to say. It was no, but we couldn't say it. So, but anyway, that's kind of. I'm not a lawyer, and this is kind of a lesson learned, or we're learning as we go. And to your point, it might be in the future a 5-story. We have no control over it, unfortunately. Having said that, I do appreciate the design. I think the Spanish colonial that. I love city of Santa Barbara. When I go there, I see these type of buildings, and it just I don't know, it makes you feel different. And this design is fantastic. We can add hardware to break up some mass, whether that's additional windows or false windows and hardware on top of the windows. Forgot what it's called, the band or horizontal band, right? So that can break up the mass. Implementing different color, sure. That also can help with the breaking up the mass. But overall, I do support the project, and it's nicely done. So it's well thought. So I have no. I was not present when this was brought in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a fresh look. I did visit the site. My only concern as the driveway entrance in the rendering you show, it looks like a tall wall at the entrance. If there's an opportunity to reduce that to kind of make it blend in with that adjacent neighbors landscaping, I think that would be good move for the entire project and the neighborhood. So those are my thoughts, and overall I do like the design. So thank you. So with that.
And just, I agree with the wall. That's what I was going to say. The reduction and in terms of the condition for the tower, I don't think we have to be prescriptive about what that is. Honestly, one simple band and the coloration underneath it different might solve it without doing niches or windows or anything like that. So I would leave it to staff and the designer to rather than being prescriptive about that item.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then, so I'm hearing a condition to reduce the height of that wall and the driveway to improve visibility for vehicles and pedestrians?
Correct.
Mr. Chair, members of the boards, the maximum wall height in the street front setback is going to be 18 inches regardless. Maybe the rendering might be a little bit exaggerated, but it would be 18 inches maximum by zoning code.
Beautiful.
So then we don't necessarily need a condition for that. The other one was recoloring of that garden wall kind of thing. Are we all agreed that we should be recommending that?
Yeah.
Okay. So applicant to work with staff on a color palette for the lowest level of sort of garden walls and maybe the driveway walls to be a darker contrasting color to help ground the building.
One clarification, I know we talked about the tower, to work with staff, whether to be a condition or consideration. I heard both, but I just wanted to verify that.
I think it's okay to make it a condition. I think Mr. Sarabian's has some ideas already, so I'm sure you guys can come up with something.
The board has definitely recommended some easy fixes that I too believe that can be easily implemented, so.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
Okay, so with that, as well as staff's existing 3 conditions, I'll move the project for approval with conditions.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Welsh, a second by Board Member Luckroff. This week, roll call. Board Member Luckroff.
Yes.
Board Member Simonian.
Yes.
Board Member Welsh.
Yes.
Mr. Chair Halajian.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Staff doesn't have any comments, and it is, I always forget to do this, 8:31. Motion adjourned. Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Take care.